Chapter 4708. How can I help Senior Fei Huang? Lu Ming's mind spun rapidly. If this continued, Fei Huang would be defeated very soon. He wanted to do something. However, with his cultivation he could not interfere at all. The difference was too great. If he was hit by a strand of energy, only death would await him. Right, the human king's body? Suddenly Lu Ming thought of the human king's body and his eyes lit up. Back then he only had the right arm of the human king, but he could unleash the strength of an ordinary origin realm expert. Now that the four limbs, head and torso of the human king were gathered together, would he be able to erupt with an even greater strength? The bronze chest said that if he gathered all the bodies of the human king, he would be invincible in the universe. His consciousness immediately entered his sea of consciousness. In his sea of consciousness he opened the bronze chest. The human king's body lay quietly in the chest. Communicate, activate. Lu Ming immediately took action. He wanted to communicate with the human king's body and activate the power of the human king's body. However, there was no movement at all. The human king's body still lay in the bronze chest, motionless. Continue, there was still no movement. Lu Ming tried a few more times but the result was the same. You don't have to try. It's useless. With your cultivation, it's impossible to activate the power of the human king's body. At this moment, the bronze chest shone and a sentence appeared on it. Can't activate the power of the human king's body? Then I can activate the arm of the human king before? Lu Ming asked in return. You said it yourself. That was just an arm of the human king. The power was scattered and weak so you could activate a strand of power. However, now that the human king's body has almost merged, the power is very strong. With your strength you can't activate it at all. The difference is too great. The bronze chest continued to answer. Nestle, why didn't you say so earlier? If that's the case, it'll be even more useless if I get more of the human king's body. You said before that if I get the complete human king's body, I'll be able to conquer the universe and flatten the heavenly palace. If I can't even activate the power, how can I flatten it? Lu Ming said unhappily. That's because you're still missing a core. The human king's heart is the true core of the human king's body. It is also the source of power. Once you obtain the human king's heart, the human king's body will become one. You don't even need to activate it. You only need to control the human king's body and you can easily activate all the power of the human king's body. Flattening the heavenly palace will be a piece of cake. The bronze box said again. I see. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His eyes flickered as he stared at the bronze chest and asked, Who are you? There are 6 bronze chests in total. Every bronze chest should have its own spiritual intelligence. Which chest do you belong to? Now that the 6 chests have fused, the spiritual intelligence will naturally fuse as well. A sentence appeared on the bronze box, and then it didn't say anything else. At this moment, Fei Huang was in imminent danger. Fei Huang, you can't stop me. Heavenly Lord Crepe Myrtle roared. Then I'll block you. At this moment, a clear and cold voice sounded. It was a woman's voice. Before she could finish speaking, the void split open on its own. A sword light flashed out and slashed at Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle. Its speed and power had reached an unimaginable level. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle's pupils constricted. Not daring to be careless, he retreated and thrust out a palm. A purple gold palm print blasted out and collided with the sword light. His purple gold heavenly seal could transform into a large seal or a palm print. It could change at will. With a boom, the sword light was blocked, but the purple gold palm print also shattered. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle hurriedly retreated. A figure stepped out of the void that had split open. It was a woman wearing a white swordsman's robe that perfectly outlined her graceful figure. She carried a long sword on her back, and her long hair was combed into a ponytail. She was full of heroic spirit. Its senior sister First Sky Sword. Upon seeing this woman, Tang Jun exclaimed in excitement. So it's the Sword Ancestor's eldest disciple, First Sky Sword. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was very surprised. He did not expect First Sky Sword to be a woman. However, First Sky Sword's appearance was a little strange. Her long hair was golden, and the texture of her hair looked very similar to the hair of the heavenly human tribe. It's you, traitor. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle shouted when he saw this woman. I'm no longer a member of the heavenly human tribe. Sooner or later, I'll sever the half of the heavenly human tribe bloodline in me. First Sky Sword said coldly. As she spoke, she stepped forward and walked toward Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle. Every step she took crossed hundreds of millions of miles. At the same time, the aura on her body became stronger and stronger. The long sword on her back vibrated and buzzed endlessly, as if it would fly out at any moment and unleash a shocking attack. "Aunt Fei Huang, leave this to me." First Sky Sword Dao. As soon as she finished speaking, the long sword on her back was unsheathed with a clang. It turned into a shocking sword light that was hundreds of millions of miles long and slashed at Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle. Purple Gold Heavenly Seal. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle roared. His glabella shone and a real seal flew out. This was an source-grade weapon and a top-grade one at that. Whoosh! The purple gold seal flew into the sky and spun rapidly. It burst out with countless rays of divine light and attacked First Sky Sword. However, First Sky Sword's sword light was too sharp. Wherever it passed, the purple divine light would shatter. Clang! In the end, the sword light slashed the purple gold seal, and a deafening explosion erupted. Terrifying energy swept in all directions. Some of the energy landed on the continent of the thousand-year battlefield, and the continent of the thousand-year battlefield exploded continuously, creating huge craters. Many of the powerful poisonous insects on it were directly killed. Then the two figures floated back. "You traitor, your strength has reached such a level. If I had known, I would have eliminated you completely back then." Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle said coldly. His eyes were extremely cold and filled with deep shock. He did not expect First Sky Sword's strength to reach such a level. He was not weaker than him at all. "It's too late to regret now. You don't have a chance. Sooner or later, I will flatten the heavenly human tribe." First Sky Sword roared and sword light burst out. The sky was filled with sword chi as it attacked Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle was fearless. He fought with First Sky Sword. For a moment, the two of them fought fiercely, and it was difficult to determine the victor. "Is First Sky Sword really a heavenly human tribe member?" In the crowd, Lu Ming asked Tang Jun. "Yes." Tang Jun nodded and continued, "Not entirely. First senior sister is a mixed blood. Her mother is from the heavenly human tribe, and her father is from the human tribe. However, the heavenly human tribe values bloodlines very much. They definitely won't allow the heavenly human tribe to marry other races. They think that it's blasphemy against the noble bloodline of the heavenly human tribe. Therefore, after the incident, First Senior Sister's mother, her father, and the other clansmen were all killed by the heavenly human tribe." Chapter 4709. So that's how it is. Lu Ming finally understood. No wonder the first heavenly sword looked so similar to the heavenly human tribe. It turned out that he had half of the heavenly human tribe's bloodline in him. At the same time, the first heavenly sword's experience also made him sigh. Later on, my father saved the first senior sister and took her in as his disciple. The first senior sister displayed a rare talent. Coupled with her hard work and cultivation, her strength has always been the highest among my father's descendants. However, I didn't expect that after not seeing her for so many years, her strength would be comparable to the heavenly lord. Tang Jun continued. Lu Ming did not speak. He thought of more things in his heart. The first heavenly sword's strength was comparable to the heavenly lord, and the taboo sword ancestor Tang Feng's strength was definitely above the first heavenly sword. However, he still could not destroy the heavenly palace. Didn't that mean that the heavenly palace lord was not the strongest combat power of the heavenly human tribe? The first heavenly sword and heavenly lord Ziwei's battle was incomparably intense. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 100 moves, but the victor was still undecided. Boom. Suddenly, a shocking explosion erupted in the void far away. The void turned into chaos, and the fluctuations caused were no less than the first heavenly sword and heavenly lord Ziwei's. Then there were a few more explosions and huge cracks were torn in the void. Through the cracks, one could see two figures fiercely fighting. One of the figures was an old man in a gray robe. The other figure was a burly man from the heavenly human tribe. He was incomparably majestic, and his every move was filled with destructive power that could destroy the universe. That was the lord of the Hongmeng Heavenly Palace. Before entering the world of rings, the 4 heavenly palace lords were all present. Fei Huang had secretly introduced them to Lu Ming, so Lu Ming recognized him at a glance. That old man was actually able to fight evenly with the lord of the Hongmeng Heavenly Sword. This really shocked Lu Ming. That senior was once a Law King of the Primordial Divine Court, known as Law King Chengkuan. Tang Jun explained. So he's from the Primordial Divine Court. Lu Ming was even more shocked. Back then, the ancient divine court was indeed in existence that could wrestle with the heavenly palace. He was only a Dharmaraja, but he could actually fight an intense battle with the master of the heavenly palace. How many law emperors were there in the grand ancient divine court? Shakyamuni Chengkuan, back when the grand ancient divine court was destroyed, you were lucky enough to survive. Instead of hiding like a coward, you actually dared to go against the heavenly human tribe again and again. Today I will completely destroy you. The Grand Mist Heaven Master roared. His fists were equipped with a pair of top-notch origin-grade divine weapons. He punched out with both fists, sending out boundless fist force. However, Dharmaraja Chenkuan wasn't afraid at all. He laughed and said, You're still far from being able to kill me. Your previous heavenly master couldn't kill me. Dharmaraja Chenkuan also launched a powerful attack to block the Hongmeng Heaven Lord. The two of them were obviously on the same level, and it was difficult to determine the victor. Wah! Suddenly the void above Lu Ming and the others exploded. A huge hand grabbed towards Lu Ming and the others. The huge hand covered the sky and the sun, covering a radius of 100 million miles. It enveloped Lu Ming and the others, wanting to capture them. This time Fei Huang didn't attack. This was because a figure had appeared silently beside Fei Huang. It was a middle-aged man with a burly body, wearing a set of black armor. Strangely, he was sitting on a round ball. This is the dragon race's mother planet. Its senior Ao Qian. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He recognized the burly man in black armor at first glance. He was the world-destroying black dragon Ao Qian, the top expert of the dragon race. The round ball he was sitting on was obviously the dragon race's mother planet. The incomparably huge dragon race's mother planet had shrunk to the size of a water tank, and Ao Qian was sitting on it. It was really mysterious. Ao Qian roared and his body shone. Majestic energy turned into a black dragon and rushed out. The dragon claw continuously tore the huge hand in the sky apart. A figure appeared in the sky. This figure was wearing a white robe. His long robe fluttered in the air, and he was filled with endless majesty. It was the Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master. Ao Qian, have you recovered your cultivation? When the Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master saw Ao Qian, his eyes were filled with shock. Even if I haven't fully recovered, it's more than enough to deal with you. Ao Qian smiled faintly. Ao Qian, there's no need to be mysterious. You were so badly injured back then and almost died. How could you have fully recovered? I don't believe it. Let me see how much of your strength you've recovered. The Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master snorted and attacked directly. He made a grabbing motion with his hand, and a huge stone plate appeared in front of him. The stone plate looked very ancient and was filled with the marks of time. However, under the control of the Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master, the stone plate seemed to have recovered. It emitted endless light and countless runes spread out, intertwining and forming a huge heavenly human figure. These heavenly human figures were all formed by runes, but the aura they emitted was incomparably terrifying. Hero's Spirit Stone Plate? Legend has it that it's the spirit of countless experts in the history of the heavenly human tribe. I'd like to see how powerful it is. Ao Qian sneered and roared. His figure left the dragon tribe's mother planet and soared into the sky. As he rushed out, a long spear appeared in his hand. The long spear vibrated and stabbed out. Immediately, a deafening dragon roar resounded between heaven and earth. It was as if tens of thousands of divine dragons were roaring at once, and their power was shocking. Tens of thousands of divine dragons flew out from Ao Qian's long spear and fought with the heavenly human figures. Boom! Boom! The world was in an uproar and tens of thousands of collisions erupted continuously. In the next moment, Ao Qian and the Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master's original body exchanged blows. Both of them retreated, but they were evenly matched. Your combat strength. The Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master looked at Ao Qian in shock. In the battle back then, Ao Qian's injuries were obviously very serious. When the Dragon Tribe's mother planet had just recovered, Ao Qian's combat strength was far from what it was now. How many years had it been since then? How could Ao Qian's combat strength have recovered to such a high level? Could it be that the Heaven Destroyer had obtained an incredible treasure in the universe ruins that allowed Ao Qian's injuries to recover faster? That was the only possibility. As I said, even if my combat strength hasn't fully recovered, it's more than enough to deal with you. If I'm at my peak, I can kill someone like you in one move. Ao Qian roared and charged toward the Divine Armament Heavenly Palace Master with the dragon spear in his hand. But at this moment, not far away from Lu Ming and the others, another figure appeared. Heavenly Palace Master of Illusion. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. The four Heavenly Palace Masters were all here. However, the Heavenly Palace Master of Illusion did not attack Lu Ming and the others. Instead, he looked at the void in the distance. Who is it? You've been targeting me since the beginning. Come out, why hide? The Heavenly Palace Master of the Illusion Heavenly Palace said coldly. Hee little guy, in terms of age I'm your senior. Can't you treat your senior better? A cold voice sounded, as if a cold wind blew from the nine nether purgatory, making people shudder involuntarily. Chapter 47:10. After the cold voice sounded, ripples appeared in the void, and a figure appeared silently. It was an old man who looked very old. He was so thin that he was only skin and bones. He was wearing a big black robe and his body was surrounded by black chi. He looked very sinister. Dark Sky Religion Master, it's you. You're not dead. The illusory Lord of Heaven was shocked when he saw the Dark Sky Religion Master, and his voice became louder. This old man is lucky to be alive. After so many years, this old man's cultivation has returned to its peak. It's time to settle the score with you. The Dark Sky Religion Master said sinisterly. Suddenly he turned into a cloud of black smoke and dissipated. Immediately the area was completely shrouded by the black smoke. The black smoke continued to expand and spread toward the illusory Lord. Humph, I can destroy your Dark Sky Religion in the past. I can also destroy you today. The illusory Lord snorted coldly. An invisible energy spread out from her body and collided with the black smoke, creating a sizzling sound. The two of them exchanged blows. It seemed normal, but it was extremely dangerous. Dark Sky Religion, that great religion from the distant past? Lu Ming whispered. He had seen an introduction in the ancient books. A long time ago, a powerful religion appeared in the primitive universe. It was called the Dark Sky Religion. At its peak, the Dark Sky Religion was very powerful. It occupied a part of the universe and became an overlord. Its strength was not weaker than the top 10 races at that time. However, it was destroyed in the end. It was said that the Dark Sky Religion was annihilated by the Heavenly Palace. The Dark Sky Religion Master also died in the hands of a Heavenly Palace Lord. However, no one expected that the Dark Sky Religion Master was still alive and had joined the Heaven Destroyer. At the same time, Lu Ming was also amazed. The strength of the Sky Exterminating Troop was truly unfathomable. They had gathered all the enemies of the Celestial Palaces throughout history. They had so many experts that even the lords of the 4 celestial palaces were blocked. Everyone listen up. Enter the dragon race's mother planet. We will leave together later. Fei Huang's voice sounded in the ears of Lu Ming and the others. Let's go. Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and the others no longer hesitated and rushed towards the Dragon Clan's mother planet. The home planet of the Dragon Clan was only the size of a water tank. When Lu Ming and the others approached the home planet of the Dragon Clan, their bodies quickly shrank. In the end, they flew into the home planet of the Dragon Clan and disappeared. Soon, the 4,000 or so god lords of the Heaven Destroyer entered the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Of course, this included everyone from the Thousand Autumn battlefield. The Heaven Destroyer was no longer going to be a part of the 1,000-year battlefield. After everyone entered the mother planet of the Dragon Clan, Ao Qian flew back and continued to sit on the mother planet of the Dragon Clan. Don't even think about leaving. Heavenly Lord Shinji charged over. Who wants to leave? Let's fight again. Ao Qian stood on the Dragon Race Mother Star, as though he was one with the Dragon Race Mother Star. The power of the Dragon Race Mother Star flowed into his body continuously. With a thrust of his spear, a shocking spear light burst forth, blocking Heaven Lord Shinji. At this moment, the battle had reached its climax. But overall, the two sides were in a stalemate, and it was difficult to determine the victor. In terms of the number of Origin Realm experts, the Heaven Destroyer's side had fewer, but it was obvious that the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts were stronger. Despite being outnumbered, they were not at a disadvantage at all. And at this moment, the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts began to retreat as they fought, slowly gathering together. They want to retreat. Stop them. Ye Immortal shouted. The Heavenly Palace's Origin Realm experts charged madly, trying to keep the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts. However, the Heavenly Palace experts did not have the upper hand in terms of strength, so they could not really stop the Heaven Destroyer's retreat. Soon, dozens of Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts gathered together and rapidly retreated in one direction. Buzz. Suddenly, the void there distorted rapidly, and then a huge wormhole appeared. Around the wormhole were several Origin Realm experts of the Spacetime Spirit Mouse clan. The Origin Realm experts of the Spacetime Spirit Mouse clan did not participate in the battle earlier because they had been secretly preparing to open the wormhole. Fei Huang, take the Dragon Clan's mother planet and retreat first. Ao Qian said, and the Dragon Clan's mother planet flew toward Fei Huang. Fei Huang reached out her hand, and the Dragon Clan's mother planet continued to shrink until it was the size of a bead in her hand. Fei Huang did not hesitate at all. She turned around and took a step forward, charging into the wormhole. Damn it! Don't let Lu Ming escape. The Heavenly Palace's Origin Realm experts roared. They wanted to stop her, but it was useless. It was too late. They could only watch Fei Huang's figure disappear into the wormhole. You guys retreat quickly too. Leave this to us. Ao Qian said to Tang Jian and the other Origin Realm experts. Tang Jian, the third demon sword, and the others kept retreating until they were near the wormhole. Ao Qian, the first heavenly sword, Shakyamuni Chengquan, and the Dark Sky Sect's master also shrank the area and slowly approached the wormhole. As the four of them approached, they vaguely formed a barrier. The other Origin Realm experts of the Heavenly Palace were blocked outside the barrier, allowing Tang Jian and the others to find a gap. Let's go. Tang Jian and the other Origin Realm experts flashed and entered the wormhole. They followed the wormhole and quickly headed toward the Heaven Destroyer's base. After these Origin Realm experts left, the Spacetime Spirit Mouse's Origin Realm experts also entered the wormhole. Then the wormhole collapsed and quickly disappeared. In this void, only Ao Qian, the first heavenly sword, Shakyamuni Chengquan, and the Dark Sky Sect's master were left. The four of them were responsible for bringing up the rear. Without them, it would be difficult for the others to escape. The four of them were strong enough. Although the Heavenly Masters and the other Origin Realm experts launched a frenzied attack, they were all blocked by the four of them. Retreat! Ao Qian shouted when he saw that the people of the Heaven Destroyer had retreated. The four experts' figures flickered, and the void collapsed as they fled into the distance. Although the experts of the Heavenly Palace tried their best to stop them, it was difficult for them to stop the four experts. Ao Qian, the first heavenly sword, Shakyamuni Chengquan, and the Dark Sky Sect's master were each as strong as a heavenly master. The other Origin Realm experts of the Heavenly Palace were much weaker than them. If they wanted to escape, it would be difficult for them to stop them. There's no need to chase. The Heavenly Palace's Origin Realm experts wanted to chase after them, but they were stopped by a figure. It was Yi Immortal. Yi Immortal's face was gloomy as he looked into the distance. His eyes flickered and no one knew what he was thinking. Young Master Immortal, I'm sorry. They escaped. Heaven Lord Crepe Myrtle appeared beside Yi Immortal and bowed his head. He was a little nervous, afraid that the strongest patriarch in the history of the heavenly human tribe would blame him. This time it's not your fault. I miscalculated and underestimated that Lu Ming. Yi Immortal spoke, his voice cold. This time he had underestimated Lu Ming. He had not expected that the human king body would fall into Lu Ming's hands. At the same time, the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts had made ample preparations. So when Lu Ming came out with the human king body, the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts methodically blocked the Heavenly Palace's Origin Realm experts. The experts of the Spacetime Spirit Mouse race had clearly been on the move and had been opening a wormhole. Otherwise, they would not have been able to open a wormhole so quickly. He had been too confident and miscalculated. Chapter 47:11. Young Master Immortal, should we gather our men and attack the traitors' encampment and destroy them in one fell swoop? Master Hongmeng asked. Are you confident? Yi Immortal asked coldly. Master Hongmeng fell silent. If he was confident, he would have destroyed the Heaven Destroyer a long time ago. Why would he wait until now? The traitors have retreated to their base and have the terrain advantage. With our current strength, we can't do anything to them even if we attack them. Yi Immortal said. Then what should we do? Master Ziwei asked. Let's go and see how the demon ancestor insect is doing. Yi Immortal turned around and left. The four heavenly lords' eyes lit up as they followed Yi Immortal. The other experts of the Heavenly Palace also retreated, leaving only a portion of them to occupy the 1,000-year battlefield and continue digging for treasures. There was a secret place in the ruins of the universe. This place was guarded by the elites of the four great celestial palaces all year round. This place was very well hidden. The surrounding void was shrouded in layers of array formations, concealing the entire continent within the void. Yi Immortal and the four heavenly lords descended and entered the core area. Greetings, Elder. Greetings, heavenly lords. An elder from the heavenly human race bowed to Yi Immortal and the four heavenly lords. This elder from the heavenly human race had a very high cultivation. He was a reciprocity realm existence. How is the demon ancestor insect's cultivation? Yi Immortal asked directly. Ancestor, you've come at the right time. We've made some progress and we're about to ask for your instructions. The elder from the heavenly human race clapped his hands, and several tall and burly figures walked out of a passage in the hall. These figures were all abyss devils. Moreover, they were all divine lord demons. These demons stood behind the heavenly human tribe elder with wooden expressions, their faces expressionless. Success? Ye immortal and the four heavenly lords' eyes lit up. The demonic ancestral insect has undergone many transformations and evolutions. Its initial success can be considered successful. These evil demon masters have been corroded by the demonic ancestral insect. After struggling for 100 years, they are finally controlled by the demonic ancestral insect and are completely under our control. However, this is only a preliminary success. The demonic ancestral insect has yet to reach its perfect form. The heavenly human race elder said. How long will it take to reach the perfect form? Ye immortal asked. It will take at least 1,000,000 years and at most a stellar year. I will definitely succeed. The heavenly human elder had a confident look on his face. We can't wait that long. We have to take action immediately and send the devil ancestral insect into the dark universe to deal with the evil demons, Ye immortal said. Could be as short as 1,000,000 years or as long as a stellar year. Normally this wasn't a long time and he could afford to wait. But not now. The human king's limbs, head and torso had all fallen into the hands of the Heaven Destroyer. As long as the Heaven Destroyer obtained the human king's heart, the heavenly palace would be finished. Who knew if the Heaven Destroyer would find the human king's heart in more than 1,000,000 years? He couldn't afford to wait that long. Old ancestor, if we act now, I'm afraid there might be variables. The heavenly human elder said. Can the demonic ancestral insect affect the evil demon's origin? The immortal asked. Of course. As time goes by, even the evil demon's origin will be controlled by the demonic ancestral insect. The demonic ancestral insect was developed from the corpses of the evil demon's ancestors. The evil demon's origin won't be able to withstand it. The heavenly human elder said. That's enough. It doesn't matter even if we can't completely control the evil demon's origin. We just need to stop them from attacking for a while. At that time we can mobilize all our forces to destroy the rebels. Let's begin. The immortal ordered. Instead of cutting through gold and cutting through iron, there was no room for doubt. Yes. The heavenly human elder and the four heavenly lords accepted the order in unison. On the other side, Lu Ming and the others returned to the Heaven Destroyer's base through the wormhole. After returning to the Heaven Destroyer's base, Fei Huang released everyone from the Dragon Clan's mother planet. Not long after, Tang Jian, the third demon sword, and the other origin realm existences also returned. After a while, Ao Qian, the first heavenly sword, Dharmaraja Qingquan, and the Dark Sky Sect's master all returned. Everyone was overjoyed. This trip could be said to be a complete success. Although they had lost almost 1,000 divine lords, they had obtained the human king's body. Was all worth it? Then everyone looked at Lu Ming. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. This included the four peerless experts who could fight against the heavenly lords. Lu Ming, do you really have the human king's body? Take it out and let us see. Fei Huang said. Her eyes were filled with anticipation. Lu Ming nodded. With a thought, the bronze box in his sea of consciousness flew out and landed on the ground. Lu Ming waved his hand. A wave of energy flew out and opened the bronze box. Inside was a human king's body that seemed to be in perfect condition, lying quietly in the box. Everyone's eyes lit up. Their breathing became heavy. Even the origin realm existences were no exception. This was the human king's body. It was said that once controlled, it could cut through the ages and flatten everything. It possessed unimaginable power. It was difficult for them not to be excited. Lu Ming, can you control the human king's body? Fei Huang asked. I can't. Lu Ming shook his head and sighed. You can't? Many people were stunned. How could this be? I tried before. The bronze box warned me that the human king's four limbs, head and torso were fused together. The power inside is too great. It's impossible to activate the power inside. Only by finding the human king's heart and making the body complete can we use the original power of the human king's body. Lu Ming explained. So it's like that. Many people were disappointed. In other words, before they obtained the human king's heart, the human king's body was useless. Senior Fei Huang, perhaps you can try. My cultivation is too low. Lu Ming said. Okay, I'll try. Fei Huang nodded. She came near the human king's body and circulated her forbidden energy into it. But after a while, the human king's body did not react at all. Fei Huang tried again, but there was still no reaction. Unfortunately, my true body is not here. Right now, I'm only in my myriad demon incarnation. I can't use my full strength and can't activate the power of the human king's body. Fei Huang shook her head and sighed. Let me try. A clear voice rang out. The one who spoke was the first sky sword. The first sky sword was a peerless beauty. In terms of temperament and appearance, she was not inferior to Fei Huang. Because she had half the bloodline of the celestial race, she had a unique temperament. She came to the human king's body and injected her energy. To be able to reach the first sky sword's strength, the power she controlled was naturally not to be underestimated. Unfortunately, she still could not activate the power of the human king's body. Then Ao Qian, Shakyamuni Chenkuan, and the Dark Sky Church's leader went up to try one by one. It was useless. The human king's body did not react. This made everyone sigh. Chapter 47:12. Everyone sighed. They had clearly obtained the 4 limbs, head and torso of the human king's body, but they couldn't use them. It was really annoying. The human king of the previous era was extremely powerful. He is no longer someone we can compare to. The body he left behind contains too much power. When I tried it earlier, I felt that the power inside was as unfathomable as the vast ocean. It seems that only by obtaining the human king's heart and perfecting the human king's body will we be able to activate the power of the human king's body. Fei Huang said. Now that the human king's body has fallen into our hands, the heavenly palace will definitely not let this go. They will probably go crazy and gather their forces to deal with us. We must be on our guard. First Sky Sword Dao. Sky Sword, you're right. If the 4 great sky palaces come out in full force, I'm afraid we won't be able to withstand the attacks of the sky palaces alone. Therefore, we have to combine the 3 sky palaces into one and gather all our strength to withstand the attacks of the sky palaces. Fei Huang said. Everyone nodded. That was the only way now. Who knows when the heavenly palace will attack, so we must immediately prepare. World Turtle Clan and the others who are proficient in formations, I will have to trouble you to set up and perfect the formations around the base. Fei Huang looked at the Origin Realm experts of the World Turtle Clan. There were layers of formations around the base, but just in case they still had to be perfected. Don't worry, leave it to us. The Origin Realm experts of the World Turtle Clan and the other experts who were proficient in formations left in a flash. The rest of you, use the next period of time to familiarize yourself with the various formations. I'm afraid that we will face a great battle soon. Fei Huang said. Yes. Everyone nodded. Aunt Fei Huang, we can't give up on the human king's heart. We have to send people to search for it. Tang Jian suggested. You're right. The human king's heart is the key to everything. We must send people to search for it secretly in the ruins of the universe. Fei Huang nodded and then arranged everything in an orderly manner. Dharma King Chenkuan and the Dark Sky Religion Master were overlords of the primitive universe, but they had no objections to Fei Huang's orders. Very soon everything was arranged. Lu Ming, put away the sovereign personage's physical body first. Fei Huang said. Senior Fei Huang, how about I leave the sovereign personage's physical body with you for now? Lu Ming said. Fei Huang was slightly taken aback. Then she smiled and said, You are quite cunning. All right, I will keep the human king's body for you. After Fei Huang finished speaking, she waved her hand and put away the human monarch's body. Lu Ming naturally had his reasons for doing so. Firstly, his cultivation was too low. A treasure like the body of a human king was not safe for him. If he had it with Fei Huang, it would be absolutely safe. Secondly, the human king's body was a hot potato. If he carried it with him, the people of the heavenly palace would definitely keep a close eye on him. It could be said that carrying the human king's body was very dangerous. With his cultivation, there was no way he could handle it. Placing it on Fei Huang was the best choice, whether it was for him or for the human king's body. With so many people watching, he believed that the news that the human king's body was not with him would spread very quickly. Then the people present dispersed and began to make arrangements. Not long after, rumble. In the Heaven Destroyer's base, dozens of continents began to rumble. This was because dozens of continents began to move. The existence of the Origin Realm took action, pushing dozens of continents into the depths of the universe ruins. The Heaven Destroyer had a total of 3 bases in the universe ruins. The other 2 were in the depths of the universe ruins. The base that Lu Ming often stayed in was in the periphery of the universe ruins. Now, it was flying into the depths of the universe ruins to meet up with another base. Most people had missions, but Lu Ming did not. Lu Ming was in a period of rapid improvement. Fei Huang's main mission for Lu Ming was to cultivate and increase his cultivation. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. In this half a month, Lu Ming had been trying to cultivate, but the results were minimal. This was because his heart was in a mess. As long as he cultivated, he would think of Yi Wuxiu and his defeat in the battle. Ever since he embarked on the path of cultivation, it was the first time he had been defeated in a battle of the same level. Moreover, the difference in strength between the two of them was still very large. This was a huge blow to him. His belief of being invincible was severely impacted. He found it difficult to calm down. Why is Yi Immortal so powerful? He's much stronger than Yi Qiuxian, especially his ultimate move. It's too powerful, far surpassing my Sky Splitter and Desolation style. This thought constantly crossed Lu Ming's mind. The Sky Splitter and Desolation style were created by him based on more than 1,800 ancient secret techniques and tens of thousands of ordinary secret techniques. They were extremely powerful and were most suitable for him to use. They were far stronger than other secret techniques. However, compared to Yi Immortal's ultimate move, the difference was still very large. To think that such a terrifying genius would appear in the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming, victory and defeat are commonplace in battle. You don't have to take a loss to heart and delay your cultivation. The more you suffer, the stronger you become. Only then can you reach the peak. Lu Ming consoled himself. Unfortunately, he still found it difficult to calm down. He felt a little lost. He couldn't find a way to defeat Yi Immortal. Even if he continued to cultivate and improve his cultivation, Yi Immortal would also improve. If they fought at the same level, he still wouldn't be a match for Yi Immortal. Lu Ming sighed and ended his cultivation. He stepped out and walked in the sky. Finally, he landed on a mountain peak and sat on the edge of a cliff. He took out a bottle of wine and drank. Not long after, a ray of light flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it. It was a voice transmission jade talisman. Senior Fei Huang is looking for me? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. Then he got up and walked towards Fei Huang's residence. At Fei Huang's residence, he met her. Sit. Fei Huang sat beside a stone table. She waved her hand and gestured for Lu Ming to take a seat. Lu Ming sat down. Have some tea. Fei Huang smiled and poured a cup of tea for Lu Ming. Lu Ming picked up the teacup and took a sip. He immediately felt a refreshing feeling spread throughout his body and even into his soul. It calmed his agitated heart down. Good tea. Lu Ming couldn't help but praise. Lu Ming, have you been feeling upset recently and it's hard for you to cultivate? Fei Huang also picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then she smiled. Senior, you found out. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. Is it because you were defeated by Yi Immortal? Fei Huang asked. That's right. Yi Immortal is too strong. I can't find a way to defeat him at the same level. Lu Ming didn't hide the truth and told her the truth. Chapter 47:13. Fei Huang grinned at Lu Ming and said, It's normal for you to be defeated by him. Lu Ming was speechless. Fei Huang had called him here specifically to deal him a blow. Someone recorded your battle with Yi Immortal using a shadow stone. I've also seen it and I've already guessed the Yi Immortal's true identity. Fei Huang said. The Yi Immortal's true identity? He has another identity? Lu Ming was taken aback. Of course, because the Yi Immortal's ultimate move was a Genesis technique. You may not have a deep understanding of Genesis techniques, so I'll explain it to you first. Once a cultivator breaks through to the origin realm, they will condense an origin root and control origin energy. Of course, the origin energy that everyone controls is slightly different. Genesis techniques are secret techniques that cultivators create based on their own origin energy. Fei Huang explained. So that's how it is. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Lu Ming had always been curious about what kind of secret techniques cultivators could use after reaching the origin realm. This was because, regardless of whether it was an ancient secret technique or an origin secret technique comprehended from the divine power of origin, once one reached the divine master realm, they would be cultivated to the peak. Origin secret techniques comprehended from origin divine force were originally bound by shackles, but at the peak of the divine master realm, these shackles would basically be severed. The power of the secret technique would reach its peak and could no longer be increased. These secret techniques were not very useful to origin realm existences. As it turned out, origin realm existences could comprehend their own Genesis techniques based on the origin energy they controlled. Genesis techniques cannot be passed down. They are completely created based on one's own origin energy. Even if you teach them to others, they won't be able to learn them. Every living being's Genesis technique is unique. Therefore, when Yi Immortal used his Genesis technique, I was able to determine his true identity with a single glance. Fei Huang continued to explain. Lu Ming didn't say anything, waiting for Fei Huang to continue. Yi Immortal's true identity is the first person in the history of the heavenly human tribe to have mastered the perfect power of the heavens. He is also known as the most powerful person in the history of the heavenly human tribe. Fei Huang said seriously. What? Lu Ming's heart shook violently. This was really beyond his expectations. He never expected that the Yi Immortal would have such a status. That's not right. I don't know how old the first ancestor in the history of the heavenly human race who controlled the perfect power of heaven was, but Yi Wuxia looks very young. According to his life origin aura, he is at most a few 100,000 years old. Could it be that he is also a reincarnation? As he spoke, Lu Ming suddenly thought of something and exclaimed in shock. Since Tang Jun and Xian Yanqing could be reincarnated, it was normal for others to be able to do so as well. From the current situation, that is indeed the case. I really didn't expect that the heavenly human tribe would also obtain a little reincarnation power and that he would succeed, Fei Huang said in a low voice. Her eyes were filled with surprise, which showed that her heart wasn't very calm either. No wonder that guy has such exquisite control over his power. He didn't waste a single bit of it. Even after a great battle with me, he didn't use up too much of his power and maintained his powerful battle strength. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. That's why I said that it's normal for you to be defeated by Yi Immortal. He can't be considered as someone of the same generation as you. He has lived for countless years and his battle experience, control over his power, and use of the perfect power of the heavens have all reached the pinnacle. He's far from someone Yi Qiuxin can compare to. He relied on his experience to be able to use Genesis techniques at the first layer of the Divine Master realm. Genesis techniques are too powerful, so it's normal that you can't withstand them, Fei Huang said. Lu Ming nodded, finally regaining some confidence. The person who had defeated him wasn't someone of the same generation as him, but an old monster who had lived for countless years. If he had lived for so many years, he definitely wouldn't have lost to his opponent. So you don't have to be discouraged. Yi Immortal only has an advantage in terms of Genesis techniques. Once your cultivation reaches the origin realm and you comprehend your own Genesis techniques, you may not necessarily lose to him in a battle of the same level, Fei Huang said. Just that I won't lose to him? Lu Ming muttered. This wasn't what he wanted. What he wanted was to defeat Yi Immortal. It's not impossible for you to defeat him in a battle of the same level. Taboo power has endless potential. Your potential is still far from being unleashed to the limit, Fei Huang said. Elder, please enlighten me. Lu Ming clasped his fists together. Those who are closely involved can't see clearly. It's actually very simple. The more secret techniques you fuse into your taboo power, the stronger it will be. If you can fuse more secret techniques into your taboo power, the more powerful it will become. Won't it be normal for you to defeat Yi Immortal in a battle of the same level in the future? Fei Huang said. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He bowed and clasped his fists together. Thank you for your guidance, Elder. Looks like you've already understood. Go. Fei Huang waved her hand. Lu Ming picked up the teacup and finished it in one gulp. He then stepped into the air and left, returning to his residence. His conversation with Fei Huang had completely unraveled the knot in his heart. He was filled with fighting spirit once more. It's very difficult to increase my cultivation. I lack primal crystals. Even if I refine all the master-tier divine herbs on me, it'll be difficult for me to break through. Why don't I increase the potential of my taboo power first? Also, my battle symbol technique hasn't reached the peak yet. Once it reaches the peak, I should be able to increase my battle prowess by 9 times. It's only 8 times now. Once I reach the peak, I'll be able to fight Yi Immortal even if I haven't reached the origin realm or comprehended a Genesis technique. Lu Ming's eyes grew brighter and brighter. It was not that he could not increase his cultivation. He still had a lot of potential. It was just that he had been blinded by his previous failures and failed to see it. The more secret techniques I fuse with my taboo power, the more powerful it will be. The effects of fusing with ancient secret techniques are the best. I've already fused with over 1,800 ancient secret techniques. It's just too difficult to find other ancient secret techniques. Many of them have already been lost, but I have the Primal God Rock. In the past, the master of the Primal Divine Court was able to comprehend 3,000 ancient secret techniques from the Primal God Rock. If he can do it, so can I. I'll comprehend the secret techniques from the Primal God Rock and fuse them with my taboo power. After thinking it through, Lu Ming stood up and headed off in a certain direction. If he wanted to comprehend powerful secret techniques from the Primal God Rock faster, he would need to rely on external help. The Heaven Destroyer encampment had a sacred cultivation ground. The Primal God sound reverberated throughout the year, helping people comprehend the Tao. With Lu Ming's status, he obviously could enter for free. He could cultivate for as long as he wanted. Lu Ming arrived in a valley. The primal god sound constantly reverberated through the valley. As soon as he arrived, Lu Ming's mind entered a state of emptiness. It's similar to the primal god sound in the heavenly palace. Lu Ming smiled. He found a place to sit down before connecting with the primal god rock in his sea of consciousness. Chapter 47:14. With the help of the primordial godly sound, Lu Ming's mind entered an ethereal state. This was the state where one's comprehension was at its highest. At the same time his glabella shone. In his sea of consciousness, the primordial godly stone emitted a radiance. On it, patterns constantly appeared. Each pattern was different and ever-changing. Lu Ming could gain inspiration from the primordial godly stone at all times. Before this, Lu Ming had already mastered more than 1,800 primordial secret techniques and tens of thousands of ordinary secret techniques. In addition, he had also comprehended 2 secret techniques that belonged to him. Therefore, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the secret skill. It was a walk in the park. He did not need to comprehend secret techniques that belonged to him completely. He only needed to extend the primordial secret techniques that he had mastered in the past. From there, he could comprehend some secret techniques that were similar to the primordial secret techniques. Their level was about the same as the primordial secret techniques, and their difficulty was much lower than the primordial secret techniques and primordial secret techniques. Time passed day by day. The inspiration that gathered in Lu Ming's mind also increased. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. After 10 years, Lu Ming finally succeeded in comprehending a secret technique that was similar to the primordial secret technique. This secret technique was somewhat similar to one of the primordial secret techniques that Lu Ming had mastered. However, there were some differences. It was a secret technique that was used to trap enemies. Lu Ming did not know if there was such a secret technique among the 3,000 primordial secret techniques. Perhaps, this secret technique was different from the 3,000 primordial secret techniques. In any case, Lu Ming succeeded. He transformed this secret technique into a secret technique rune and integrated it into a cell. Then, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the next secret technique. Comprehending the first secret technique was the most difficult and time-consuming. When it came to comprehending the second secret technique, the difficulty was significantly reduced. The time required was also significantly reduced. In just 9 years, Lu Ming had comprehended the second secret technique that was similar to the primordial secret technique. Similarly, he transformed it into a secret technique rune and integrated it into a cell. Almost 20 years had passed since the battle for the human monarch's body. To the surprise of the Heaven Destroyer, the Heavenly Palace did not launch an attack. For the past few years, the Heavenly Palace had been unusually quiet. However, no one dared to be careless. Everyone understood that this was perhaps the calm before the storm. The Heavenly Palace would never give up on the human king's body. They were accumulating strength. Once they made their move, it would be a thunderous blow. The Sky Exterminating Troop had sent many people to the primitive universe to spy on the movements of the Heavenly Palace. There were thousands of races in the Chaos Universe. Heaven Destroyer had sent some people to mingle in the Chaos Universe. It would be difficult for the Heavenly Palace to discover them, but it was more than enough for them to gather some information. In addition, the 3 bases of the Heaven Destroyer had joined together. The 3 garrisons and over 100 continent fragments were arranged in a mysterious manner, vaguely forming a formation. In addition, the World Turtle and some other experts who were proficient in formations were constantly repairing and perfecting the formations around the garrisons. The other experts were familiar with these formations. If the Heavenly Palace attacked, they could activate the formations at any time to meet the enemy. As for the beings below the Almighty level, they gathered together to cultivate the combined attack formation. During a battle, they could form the combined attack formation to increase their power. As for those above the Almighty level, they could not cultivate the combined attack formation. This was because there was no such powerful combined attack formation for the Almighty level to cultivate. The Almighty level was too powerful. If they wanted to set up a combined attack formation, they would need an extremely high-level formation. Low-level formations were useless. Once the Almighty level erupted with their power, the low-level formations would not be able to stabilize and would collapse directly. That would only hinder them and make it difficult for them to use their full strength. There were no formations of such a high level in the current desolate universe. Many people speculated that there must have been formations of such a high level on the desolate continent in the last aeon, where they could be cast down by godlords or even reciprocity experts. Unfortunately, there were no records of such formations in the records excavated from the universe ruins. Therefore, in the world of rings, the Heaven Destroyer could only gather together to fight against the encirclement of the Heavenly Palace's almighty level. They did not set up a combined attack formation. Similarly, the Heavenly Palace did not have a combined attack formation for the Almighty level to set up. The Heavenly Palace's 9 Heavens battle formation could only be set up by the Almighty level. If the Almighty level wanted to set up the formation, it would collapse instead. At the same time, the Heaven Destroyer summoned all the experts from other places. For example, in the universe ruins and places like the 1,000-year battlefield, the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace's experts were facing off. They were all summoned back. The Heaven Destroyer wanted to gather all its forces to fight against the Heavenly Palace's revenge. However, as time passed, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, 70 years, 100 years, 100 years had passed since the battle for the Human King's body. There was still no movement from the Heavenly Palace. This made many people in the Heaven Destroyer confused. Why was the Heavenly Palace so calm and not making a move? The Heavenly Palace is scarier if they don't make a move. They must be plotting something. We can't let our guard down. We have to strengthen our defense. Fei Huang said. The Heaven Destroyer did not relax and strengthened its defense. At the same time, those people in the universe were constantly monitoring the Heavenly Palace's movements. They did not relax at all. In these years, the atmosphere of the various races in the universe was obviously not right. They all became nervous as if they expected a great battle to come. All the races were preparing, hoping to obtain the greatest benefits for themselves in the battle. In addition, some people in the Heaven Destroyer were scattered in the universe ruins, looking for the Human King's heart. However, there was no news. The universe ruins were too big. Finding the Human King's heart was harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Naturally, it was not that easy to find it. In such a tense atmosphere, time continued to pass. 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. Soon, 300 years had passed since the battle for the Human King's body. It was worth mentioning that in these 300 years, there had been a huge change in the universe, attracting the attention of all the races in the universe. In the universe ruins, the laws and profound meanings were originally in chaos. There was dead silence everywhere. Most of the continents had no living creatures or plants. There were very, very few continental fragments with plants. Only those that contained great desolate crystals could give birth to plants. It was only in the last few decades that the laws and profound meanings in the universe ruins slowly became more orderly. Only then did the universe ruins regain a trace of vitality. Some continents not only had plants, but also gave birth to living creatures and races. For example, the Yen clan in the Stellar Sky continent. However, such examples were rare after all. The entire universe's ruins were still deathly still. However, all of this had undergone a huge change in the past few hundred years. The laws and profound meanings in the universe ruins were becoming more orderly at an astonishing speed. It was no longer so chaotic. Many continents did not contain chaos crystals, but plants grew on them. On some continents, animals gradually appeared. The number of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, as well as all kinds of divine medicines, gradually increased. Chapter 47:15. What was even more shocking was that the Eldritch universe was also undergoing shocking changes. The divine chi in the Eldritch universe became denser and denser. Another kind of energy even appeared, like diluted Eldritch chi. Not long after, news spread from one of the top 10 races that an emperor-level divine herb in their herb garden was transforming. After a while, it became a main divine herb. This news shocked countless races in the Eldritch universe. In the past, the Eldritch universe could not produce main divine herbs. Emperor-level divine herbs were the peak. They could only find main divine herbs in the ruins of the universe. But now, a main divine herb had appeared in the Eldritch universe. What did this mean? The world was changing. The entire universe, whether it was the ruins of the universe or the boundless starry sky of the Eldritch universe, was changing drastically. In short, the cultivation environment had become even better. The beginning of all these changes seemed to have happened after the battle for the Human King's body. In the universe, countless people were shocked, doubtful, and cheering. Was the entire universe going to recreate the glory of the Eldritch universe in the previous era? In the illusory heavenly palace, at the entrance to the dark universe, the Yi Immortal stood on the city wall and looked at the land occupied by the demons. The 4 masters of the heavenly palace stood on either side of the Yi Immortal. It's been 300 years. How's the effect of the demon ancestor insect's corrosion? The Yi Immortal asked. The demon ancestor insect was cultivated from the flesh of the demon ancestors. It's extremely small, 1 billion times smaller than a strand of hair. It can't be seen with the naked eye, but as it spreads through the air, even the origin realm demons will be affected unknowingly. It's been 300 years. Most of the demon masters have been controlled. Even the origin realm demons are probably affected. The master of the illusory heavenly palace answered. We can't wait any longer. It's been 300 years. If the heaven destroyer finds the heart of the human king's body, we'll be defeated. Pass down my order. Send an army to attack the demon's territory. Test them and see what the results are. The Ye Immortal ordered. Very soon, an army of the heavenly palace set off. They killed their way into the depths of the dark universe and the demon kingdom. Wherever they passed, there was no resistance at all, because almost all of the demons were controlled by the heavenly palace and surrendered right away. The army of the heavenly palace had broken through many demonic kingdoms before they were met with resistance. An origin realm fiend charged out. Reciprocity fiends were extremely huge. They stood hundreds of millions of meters tall and stood tall. Their huge wings were unfurled, blotting out the sun. One of the heavenly palace's origins went up and clashed with the demonic origin. The demonic origin was sent flying and one of its wings was almost torn off. With just a single move, the evil demon origin was completely defeated. Despicable heavenly human tribe, what have you done? What exactly is corroding me? The fiend origin roared. Clearly there was something wrong with his condition. He was resisting something with all his might, and his strength was less than half of his usual. Kill? The heavenly palace's origin roared and charged over. His attacks were wild. The demonic origin barely managed to block more than 10 moves before he was killed by the heavenly palace's origin. Not even a trace of origin imprint was left behind. The demon ancestor insect is effective. Even the demonic origin is greatly affected. His battle prowess is greatly reduced. The primordial chaos heaven master was overjoyed. Immortal young master, should we send out an army to destroy the demons in one go? The primordial chaos heaven master asked. No. Since the demon ancestor insect is effective, we should keep the demons alive. They can become a sharp blade for us in the future. The immortal young master smiled. Young master is wise. The other primordial chaos heaven masters of the heavenly palace flattered him. Indeed, since the demons could be controlled by them, it was better to keep them alive than to kill them. They could become their hired thugs and fight for them. Right now, the human king's body is the most important thing. 300 years have already passed. We can't wait any longer. The demons can no longer attack us. Pass down the order. As long as we leave a few people to guard the dark universe, the rest will go out and wipe out the rebels. The Ye Immortals' order was unquestionable. Yes. The 4 heavenly masters obeyed the order. The heavenly palace's army retreated, leaving only a few people to guard the dark universe. The demon ancestor insect was extremely small, but it spread through the air. After 300 years, most of the demons in the dark universe had been corroded by the demon ancestor insect. The demons were no longer a threat to the heavenly palace. This was the result of countless years of research by the heavenly palace. Ever since the confrontation with the demons, they had begun their research. After countless years, they finally succeeded. The people of the heavenly human tribe were extremely excited. The great enemy, the demons, had finally been dealt with. They no longer had to invest a large number of experts in the dark universe. From now on, which force in the universe could be a match for the heavenly human tribe? The heavenly court and the archaic divine court could not withstand a single blow. The heaven destroyer was destined to follow in the footsteps of the heavenly court and the archaic divine court. The heavenly palace mobilized most of the origin realm experts to attack the heaven destroyer's base through the wormhole. The heaven destroyer naturally did not know that the demons had been dealt with by the heavenly palace. However, they did not dare to relax. They were constantly on guard and ready for battle. After 300 years of cultivation, Lu Ming had also made great progress. In 300 years, Lu Ming had comprehended 300 secret techniques that were similar to the archaic secret techniques. They all turned into runes and fused into his cells. With the addition of 100 powerful secret techniques, the forbidden body had also improved by quite a bit. It was slightly more powerful than before. Of course, Lu Ming had not only comprehended secret techniques in the past 300 years. He had also spent time comprehending the battle formula. Lu Ming could unleash 8 times his battle prowess as he wished. 9 times his battle prowess had a success rate of a few tenths. It's not enough. It's far from enough. The success rate of 9 times my battle prowess is only a few tenths. It's too low. No one will give me the time to trigger it. Besides, even if I trigger 9 times my battle prowess, I might not be a match for the Ye Immortal. Lu Ming murmured to himself. The Ye Immortal's origin technique was just too powerful. However, when Lu Ming triggered 9 times his battle prowess, the increase in his strength was not that exaggerated. In the Divine Master realm, doubling one's battle prowess would not result in an obvious increase. Usually, a difference in cultivation level would be more than double. Therefore, even if Lu Ming triggered 9 times his battle prowess, he would probably not be a match for the Yi Immortal. He had to continue comprehending secret techniques and strengthen the forbidden body. The forbidden body was the foundation. Moreover, the battle formula's effect was closely related to his personal strength. The stronger his personal strength, the more the battle formula would increase. For example, if his personal strength was 1, triggering 9 times his battle prowess would be 9. If his personal strength was 2, triggering 9 times his battle prowess would be 18. Chapter 47:16. In the past 300 years, Lu Ming had not made any breakthroughs in his cultivation, remaining at the 6th layer of the God Lord realm. At the God Lord realm, if one did not refine primal crystals or main-level divine medicines and cultivate it on their own, it would be very difficult for one's cultivation to increase. This was mainly because the energy in space was too thin, unlike the primal desolate continent of the last epoch. However, while Lu Ming's cultivation had not increased, Qiuqiu's had increased by an extremely large amount. In the past few years, Lu Ming had given Qiuqiu all the damaged source-grade divine weapons he had on him, as well as many precious metals such as icy firestar silver. Qiuqiu had broken through 2 levels in a row, reaching the 7th layer of the God Lord realm. This was also the reason why Lu Ming lacked damaged source-grade divine weapons. Otherwise, Qiuqiu's cultivation would have been even stronger. Qiuqiu, at the 7th layer of the God Lord realm, had devoured many damaged source-grade divine weapons and possessed some of their mysteries, making it extremely powerful. In a one-on-one fight, Lu Ming might not be its opponent. At the very least, when Qiuqiu turned into armor, Lu Ming could not break through its defenses. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, the fierce beating of war drums resounded through the world. The heavens and earth buzzed, shaking the entire base of the Heaven Destroyer. At this moment, everyone was roused from their stupor. The war drums are constantly beating. The war is coming. Has the Heavenly Palace finally taken action? Lu Ming muttered. He ended his cultivation and left the valley, shooting into the sky. Formation rise. A deep voice resounded through the world. It was a reciprocity expert giving the order. BZZZ. 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 In the encampment of the sky exterminating troop, the hundreds of fragments of the continent all emitted dazzling rays of light. Endless runes filled the void and gathered to form a large formation, enveloping the encampment of the sky exterminating troop. Countless experts were presiding over these formations. At the same time, countless figures soared into the sky from the continents, gazing outside. A massive spatial fissure had appeared in the air outside the base of the Heaven Destroyer. Numerous figures were walking out of the spatial cracks one after another. The first to come out were obviously the 4 heavenly masters of the Heavenly Palace. They stood in a row in the void, looking at the Heaven Destroyer base from afar. Their eyes flickered with a cold luster and anticipation. The Heaven Destroyer, the opponent they had been fighting for dozens of stellar years, was finally going to be destroyed today. Figures constantly emerged from the spatial crack, lining up behind the 4 heaven masters. They were all reciprocity experts. Your plan is pretty good. However, today's outcome has already been decided. You will not be able to escape the fate of destruction. Heavenly Lord Crepe Myrtle was the first to speak. His cold voice echoed across the void and into the base of the Heaven Destroyer. If the Heavenly Palace could do it, why wait until now? Fei Huang replied coldly. A few reciprocity experts stood around Fei Huang as well. As for the other Heaven Destroyer origins, they were scattered all over the place to maintain the array formation. Really? Fei Huang, your confidence will soon be shattered. Heavenly Lord Crepe Myrtle sneered. Very quickly, Fei Huang's face sank, and a bewildered expression appeared on her face. In reality, most of the experts of the Heaven Destroyer were like this. Their faces became uglier and uglier. This was because the experts of the Heavenly Palace who walked out from behind the 4 heaven masters were increasing in number. 50, 60, 70. Very soon there were more than 100. They were all existences at reciprocity. The Heavenly Palace had actually mobilized more than 100 reciprocity experts. It was clearly more than that because the number was constantly increasing. In less than a minute, a total of 150 reciprocity experts had appeared behind the 4 heaven masters. Including the 4 heaven masters, there were a total of 150. They were all reciprocity experts. Most of them were from the celestial race. There were also experts from other races such as the angels, the Buddhas, the demons, the blood race, the battle saint tribe, and so on. Apart from the quasi-saint tribe, almost all the reciprocity experts of the top 10 races had been mobilized. How is this possible? This is almost all the reciprocity experts of the Heavenly Palace. How can they all be mobilized? Don't they need to guard the Dark Universe? Aren't they afraid of the demons' attacks? Tang Jun had appeared beside Lu Ming at some point in time. His face was full of shock and disbelief. 850 reciprocity experts. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. The strength of the Heavenly Palace was truly unfathomable. Normally, it was not easy to see one reciprocity expert. Now, 150 had appeared in one go. It was simply terrifying. Tang Jun, how many reciprocity experts do we have in the Heaven Destroyer? Lu Ming asked. I only have a rough idea. There should be 49 of them in the reciprocity realm. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming's face was extremely ugly. 49 people was too far away from the Heavenly Palace. They had 3 times more reciprocity experts than them. Once they break through to the reciprocity realm, other races, be it primitive gods or humans, will be a little stronger than the heavenly humans. In the past, the Heavenly Palace had to allocate most of their strength to guard the Dark Universe and stop the demons. The remaining experts, the Heaven Destroyer, could barely resist them. But now why? Tang Jun's face was very ugly. Lu Ming knew what Tang Jun wanted to say. Why did they bring out all the reciprocity experts guarding the Dark Universe? Not only were they puzzled, but Fei Huang and the other reciprocity experts were also very puzzled. Had something happened in the Dark Universe? Had the demons been destroyed? That was impossible. They knew how terrifying the demons were. The demons were very powerful and unfathomable. If it were not for the fact that the demons were not united and were in a state of division, often killing each other, most of the Heavenly Palace's strength might not have been able to stop the demons' attack. How could such powerful demons be destroyed so easily? Had the Heavenly Palace cooperated with the demons? That was also impossible. Fei Huang and the others knew a lot. The demons and the heavenly human race were mortal enemies that could not be resolved. They knew that something must have happened in the Dark Universe that they did not know about. But they could not care so much now. Stopping the Heavenly Palace's attack was the most important thing. Fei Huang, let's see what you can do. A Heavenly Lord ordered. Boom, boom, boom. The 150 reciprocity experts of the Heavenly Palace erupted with powerful auras. They spread out and formed a circle surrounding the Heaven Destroyer's base. Then 150 attacks bombarded the Heaven Destroyer's base. Formation rise. Activate the formation. Loud roars rang out from the Heaven Destroyer. Dazzling light illuminated an endless distance. Numerous formations intertwined together, forming a huge defensive formation. These formations were controlled by dozens of reciprocity experts and thousands of divine lords. They were extremely powerful. Boom, 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 boom. The defensive barrier formed by the formation was struck by the 150 terrifying attacks and shook violently. But it still managed to block them in the end. Chapter 47:17. Continue to attack. They only have around 40 origins, so their energy is limited. As long as we continue to attack, the energy of their formation will be depleted sooner or later. At that time, it will be the time of their deaths. A Heavenly Lord yelled. The 150 Heavenly Palace origins continued to attack. Terrifying attacks flew towards the Heaven Destroyer's base. With so many reciprocity experts working together, it was just too shocking. If they were in the desolate universe, they would be able to destroy galaxies one after another. Entire star regions would be destroyed. The area within 100 million kilometers of the Heaven Destroyer's base was completely destroyed. Nothing was left. Everything had been reduced to chaos. This battle could be said to be the most intense in countless years. It was also the battle that involved the most experts. 60 stellar years ago, an unprecedented war had broken out. That battle was extremely tragic. However, the Heavenly Palace had not mobilized so many origins. This was because the Heavenly Palace needed to guard against the demons at that time, so they could not mobilize so many origins. It could be said that the battle involving so many origins could be traced back to the battle between the Heavenly Palace and the Primordial gods. Boom, 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 boom. The Heaven Destroyer's defensive formation constantly shook. At this moment, Fei Huang and the others participated in controlling the formation. Lu Ming and Tang Jun also came to the base of the formation and strengthened it together. However, many people's hearts sank. There were just too many origins in the Heavenly Palace. If this continued, the Heaven Destroyer's formation would definitely not be able to withstand it. It was only a matter of time before it was broken. Once the formation was broken, the Heaven Destroyer's side would have no chance of victory against the 150 origins. Most of them would die. The difference was just too great. However, there was nothing they could do. The only thing they could do now was to resist with all their might. Attack in batches and exhaust their strength. A heavenly lord said. Afterward, half of the heavenly palace's origins retreated and began to recover their strength. The other half continued to attack. In this way, although the intensity of the attack was much lower, the people of Heaven Destroyer still couldn't be careless. They still had to urge the formation to resist with all their might. After a period of time, the heavenly palace switched out a group of people, and the other group retreated to recover. They took turns attacking the Heaven Destroyer in order to deplete its strength. Time passed by second. Soon a day had passed. During that day, the reciprocity experts of the Heavenly Palace did not rest at all. They constantly attacked. At this time, the light of the Heaven Destroyer base's array formation had dimmed a lot, and the strength of the array formation was not as strong as before. At this time, more figures appeared outside the Heaven Destroyer's base. They were Yi Immortal, Yi Qiuxin, and some of the Lord of Heaven from the Heavenly Palace. These people stood and watched from afar. Haha, it seems like the Heaven Destroyer will be destroyed soon. Once the Heaven Destroyer is destroyed and the demons are under our control, our heavenly human race will have no opponents. We will dominate the universe forever. Yi Qiuxin seemed very excited. Don't be happy too early. Dealing with the demons and rebels only gave us the upper hand. The crisis is far from over, Yi Immortal said coldly. What? Yi Qiuxin and the other Lord of Heaven looked at each other. What did this mean? Old Ancestor, what do you mean? What crisis do we have after dealing with the demons and rebels? Who can be a match for our heavenly human race? Could it be the quasi-immortal race? Do they have the ability to do so? Yi Qiuxin couldn't help but ask. The situation of the universe is more complicated than you can imagine. Now that the universe is undergoing great changes, the universe is recovering, and the great era is coming. A great era also means a great calamity. No one can stay out of it, Yi Immortal said. Then he stopped. Great calamity? What great calamity? Yi Qiuxin and the others asked in shock. Cultivate well. When your cultivation reaches a certain level, you will naturally know. In short, you must remember that our race can only survive this calamity by taking the initiative and obtaining more opportunities in the ruins of the universe and continuously increasing our strength. Once we survive this calamity, our race will truly soar into the sky and become the true masters of this universe. Yi Immortal sighed softly, seemingly unwilling to say more. Yi Qiuxin and the others looked at each other in confusion. At most 2 more days and the great array will be broken, Yi Immortal said softly. Ancestor, should we retreat a little further? Otherwise, the traitor's origin source will act in desperation. One of the Lord of Heaven said. During this period of time, the Yi Immortal's true identity had spread throughout the heavenly human race and even the other races. Therefore, everyone reverted to their previous form of address and addressed Yi Immortal as Old Ancestor. Yi Immortal didn't object. Don't worry. Those sources can't touch us. Yi Immortal said confidently. He looked at the void in the distance as if he could see through the universe and see a few old heavenly human race members standing in the void. No one else could see them except him. Tang Feng, Fei Huang, when are you going to make your move? Yi Immortal murmured. Only he could hear it. In the depths of the universe ruins, it was unknown how far away Heaven Destroyer's base was. This was a strange place. There were no fragments of continents within a boundless distance. This area was very far away and was completely in the depths of the universe ruins. One of the spaces was constantly twisting. Through the twisting space, one could see a strange color inside. This strange place didn't seem to belong to this world or this universe. It was covered by layers of space, appearing and disappearing from time to time. It was dreamy and illusory. It seemed to be illusory and real at the same time. It was between reality and illusion. Time didn't seem to exist in this place. Everything was still, but it was filled with terrifying energy. All kinds of energy were chaotic. Yin and Yang, the 5 elements, black and white, light and darkness. In such a place there were 2 figures. These 2 figures were standing in the void. In front of them was an image. The content of the image was the scene of the experts of the Heavenly Palace attacking Heaven Destroyer's base. The 2 figures were a man and a woman. The man was handsome and had a valiant bearing. The woman was beautiful and peerless. If the people of Heaven Destroyer were here, they would definitely recognize them at a glance. The woman was Fei Huang. The man was the legend of the primitive universe, Tang Feng, the Forbidden Sword ancestor. Tang Feng, if this continues, the base will be breached in less than 2 days. Fei Huang said with a frown. I didn't expect the Heavenly Palace to be able to mobilize the experts guarding the Dark Universe. What happened in the Dark Universe? Tang Feng whispered. He couldn't figure it out. Didn't you see a corner of the future? Didn't you see this? Fei Huang said. The future is too vague. It's hard to see it clearly. I only know that the demons will eventually become our greatest enemy. Tang Feng said. Chapter 47:18. Fei Huang frowned and then sighed. It's a pity that the two of us are trapped here and can't get out. Otherwise we wouldn't be afraid of the celestial race. Tang Feng, do you have any ideas? You can't just watch. It's difficult for your real bodies to get out. The only thing we can do now is trigger the origin tribulation first. Tang Feng said. What? You have a way to trigger the origin tribulation first? Fei Huang's expression changed. I've already set it up outside. Originally, the origin tribulation would erupt on its own in about 100 stellar years. It's not difficult to trigger it in advance. Tang Feng said. Once the origin tribulation starts, all the existences in the origin realm or above in the entire universe will have to seal themselves to avoid the tribulation. Otherwise their source root will dissipate and they may even die. If that's the case, the Celestial Palace's origin will have to seal itself and won't be able to do anything. Similarly, our origin will also have to seal itself. When that happens, all the origins in the universe won't be able to do anything. Divine Masters are the pinnacle, but the number of Divine Masters in the Celestial Palace is far greater than ours. Do you want to use formations to block the people of the Heavenly Palace? Fei Huang asked several questions in a row. You're right. Formations. The current formations of the heaven-destroying army can't stop the attacks of reciprocity experts, but if it's just godlords they can last for a very long time even if they operate on their own, Jianchen said. Tang Feng said. The encampment of the heaven-destroying army was covered in layers of formations. However, these formations were not of a very high level after all. They needed to be powered by reciprocity experts to block attacks from reciprocity experts. If there were no experts to activate them, the formations would not be able to withstand the attacks of Origin Realm experts. The fundamental reason was that the formations were not advanced enough. Most of the formations were incomplete, excavated from the ruins of the universe. However, if it was only Divine Masters, the formations in the Heaven Destroyer Station could withstand for a long time even if they operated on their own. Tang Feng's meaning was very simple. If he did not trigger the Origin Tribulation, the Heaven Destroyer's array formation would be broken in 2 days. If the Origin Tribulation was triggered, the Heaven Exterminating Army's formation would be able to hold on for a long time if both sides' existences above the Origin Realm could not attack. With Fei Huang's intelligence and experience, she immediately understood. However, she was still worried about something. How long will the Origin Tribulation last for? Fei Huang asked. 10,000 years. It can only last for 10,000 years. After 10,000 years, the crisis will be over and reciprocity existences will be able to emerge, Jianchen sighed. Tang Feng said. 10,000 years. Then how long can the Heaven Destroyer's array last? Fei Huang said. 1,000 years. Tang Feng replied. What will happen after 1,000 years? After 1,000 years, we can only rely on Lu Ming and the others. The young people of this generation are very impressive. After 1,000 years, I believe they will have grown a lot. At that time, they may be able to fight against the Heavenly Palace. As for us, we have 10,000 years. We should be able to leave. Although this place is full of danger, it also represents a great opportunity. If we can leave this place smoothly, we will definitely have a major breakthrough in our cultivation. Tang Feng said. This place is a dangerous place in the last era. Are you really confident that you can leave this place within 10,000 years? Fei Huang said. In this world, no one and no place can trap me, Tang Feng. Tang Feng said. His eyes were brighter than the stars. They were filled with invincible faith and endless confidence. You are really narcissistic. Fei Huang curled her lips. Well, I'm going to start. Tang Feng said. With a wave of his hand, the image in the air disappeared. Then an incomparably terrifying aura soared from his body. His whole person seemed to have turned into an invincible divine sword, piercing through the endless void. His hands quickly formed a seal, and a shocking sword chi suddenly rushed out from a fragment of the continent very far away from him. Bang! The ground exploded, and a battle sword flew out from the depths of the ground. The sword chi rushed out endlessly, cutting the void hundreds of millions of li in half. Clang. The sound of the sword resounded through the world. Then the battle sword flew rapidly toward the void above. The sword chi became bigger and longer, and its power became stronger and stronger. In the end, when the long sword flew out infinitely, the void was cut open, and a huge crack appeared, leading to an infinite distance. Then in the depths of the crack, a strange and mysterious place appeared. Cosmic Sea, Fei Huang whispered, and there was some shock in her eyes. Originally, there were still about 100 stellar years before the great calamity of origin would erupt, so Cosmic Sea is very close to our universe. Otherwise, even if my cultivation is 10 times or 100 times stronger, it would be impossible to trigger the great calamity of origin. Tang Feng said and continued to control the battle sword, letting it fly into Cosmic Sea. Boom. As soon as the battle sword flew into Cosmic Sea, it exploded, forming a terrible energy storm that stirred up Cosmic Sea. At this moment, Universe Sea seemed to be boiling. Endless energy, mysterious energy, poured into the entire universe. At the same time, Cosmic Sea was rapidly approaching the universe. More and more mysterious energy poured in at an astonishing speed, and it covered the universe ruins and the universe's starry sky at an astonishing speed. At this moment, the stars were trembling, and the fragments of the land of infinity were trembling slightly. Ordinary people or ordinary cultivators were fine. They only felt a slight tremor and it was over. However, the expressions of all the origin realm existences changed drastically. For example, the origins that were besieging Heaven Destroyer's base suddenly felt their origin roots throbbing wildly, as if there was an extremely powerful force that was trying to draw their origin roots out. Although they suppressed it with all their strength, their origin roots still turned into energy and flew out. If this continued, their origin roots would fly away completely and disappear completely. What's going on? What's going on? My origin root is shaking. Is turning into energy and flying away. The origins of the Heavenly Palace stopped attacking and suppressed their origin roots with all their strength. In fact, it was not only the origins of the Heavenly Palace. The origins of the Heaven Destroyer were the same. Their expressions changed drastically, and they could not care less about controlling the array and suppressed their origin roots with all their strength. Apart from the origins of the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace, the origins of the other places in the universe were the same. For example, the origin realm experts of the quasi-immortal tribe were like the origins of the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer. Their origin roots were about to fly out, and they hurriedly suppressed it in fright. It's the origin tribulation. Damn it, according to my deduction, the origin tribulation should only erupt in 100 stellar years. Why is it happening ahead of time? At this moment, Ye Immortal roared. Origin tribulation. The expressions of some experts who had heard of the origin tribulation became very ugly. However, there were even more origin realm experts who had never heard of it and hurriedly asked. Chapter 47:19. When the Cosmic Sea is the closest to the universe, it will greatly affect the origin realm cultivators in the universe. If it's light, their origin roots will be sucked away, causing them to lose all their cultivation. If they die, they will die, Ye Immortal explained quickly. This made the origin realm cultivators' faces become extremely ugly. Forefather, is there a way to resolve this? Someone asked. There is. The only way is to seal yourself and hide deep underground to resist the influence of the Cosmic Sea. However, after sealing yourself, you can't come out. Once you do, your origin roots will immediately be devoured. As a result, the era of the origin tribulation is known as the era without an origin. Normally speaking, there's still 100 stellar years before the origin tribulation. Why has it been brought forward? Has someone interfered with it? Ye Immortal asked with an extremely gloomy face. The era without an origin naturally referred to the era without an origin. Oh no, I can't hold on any longer. Forefather, what do? We can't attack the Heaven Destroyer like this. An origin realm cultivator from the Heavenly Palace roared. The energy of his origin root was constantly flowing away at a faster and faster rate. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before all of his origin roots disappeared. Retreat first, then seal your origin root. I'll think of a way to deal with the Heaven Destroyer, Ye Immortal said. He was well aware of the great tribulation of the origin force as he had experienced it once, thus he was well aware of how terrifying it was. He had once personally witnessed an existence beyond the origin realm trying to resist the origin tribulation, only to die in the end. The origin tribulation originated from the Cosmic Sea. It was unstoppable and unstoppable. Only by sealing oneself and entering a long slumber could one avoid this tribulation. Let's go. Immediately, the origin realm cultivator from the Heavenly Palace did not linger at all. With a flash, he left, vanishing in the blink of an eye. I'll let you live for a few more days. Even without an origin, I'll still destroy you. Yi Wuxiu looked at the heaven-exterminating army's encampment and said coldly. Then he left in a flash. No one above the origin realm can resist the origin tribulation. All of you, seal yourselves quickly and find a place to enter a long slumber. Wait for the origin tribulation to pass. The origin tribulation this time will last around 10,000 years. You can come out after 10,000 years. Fei Huang's voice rang through the entire Heaven Destroyer. All the reciprocity experts moved quickly. They left in a flash, searching for a place to seal themselves. This Origin Realm cultivators below the Origin Realm were all stunned. They had never thought the Origin Realm cultivators. And what was the Origin Tribulation? The Reciprocity Calamity is a calamity for those above Reciprocity. It doesn't affect those below Reciprocity at all. Those above Reciprocity must seal themselves for 10,000 years. I'll leave the heaven-destroying army to you for the next 10,000 years. Remember, the danger is nowhere near over. The attack from the Heavenly Palace will arrive very soon, so it'll be up to you. Fei Huang's voice rang out once again. She was talking to the powerful Divine Masters. The Origin Tribulation. There's actually a tribulation like this. Lu Ming was surprised and doubtful. Because at this moment, the purple copper coffin in his sea of consciousness, which had been quiet all this time, suddenly moved. The coffin shone with resplendent light. Dense inscriptions appeared on it. In the end, the inscriptions formed a formation that enveloped the coffin. The originally ordinary purple copper coffin looked even more ordinary now. It sealed itself. Even the coffin sealed itself. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Swish. At this moment, Fei Huang appeared beside Lu Ming. Senior? Lu Ming opened his mouth. Lu Ming, the origin tribulation has descended. All existences above the origin realm will seal themselves and disappear from the world. During this period of time, the world will be dominated by divine masters. Whether the Heaven Destroyer can survive this crisis will depend on you. I hope you can rise quickly. With that, Fei Huang took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. She said, there are 200 million desolation crystals in here. Tang Xiao, I, and the others have collected during this period of time. This is all we have for now. I hope it can help you. Although I'm not in my true form now, only the 10,000 demons avatar, I still need to seal myself. Otherwise it will affect my true form. I hope you can surprise me when I come out. Also, Xiaoqing, Qiuyu and the others are still cultivating outside. Here is the detailed location of their cultivation. I'm afraid that the Heavenly Palace will harm them later. You need to be careful. With that, Fei Huang handed a jade talisman to Lu Ming. Senior? Lu Ming accepted it. He wanted to say something, but he discovered that Fei Huang had already vanished. The origin realm experts of the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer had all vanished. They had sealed themselves and entered eternal slumber. Whether it was the ruins of the universe, outer space, or the dark universe, no matter where the existences above the origin realm hid, they could not avoid the origin tribulation. There was only one way to avoid the origin tribulation, and that was to seal themselves and find a place to enter eternal slumber. Otherwise, the consequences would be very severe. In just a single day, there were no longer any origin realm experts in the entire universe. Tang Feng and Fei Huang stared at the distant space. At this moment, the crack that was cut open by Tang Feng had already disappeared. However, the origin tribulation had already begun. The cosmic sea was close to the universe, so the outcome could not be changed. We've succeeded. However, we've forcefully triggered it this time, so it can only last for 10,000 years. 10,000 years should be enough for them to grow, Fei Huang whispered. Let's cultivate as well. This place isn't completely without benefits. At the very least, this place won't be affected by the origin tribulation. We won't waste the next 10,000 years, Tang Feng said. With that, he turned around and took a step forward, disappearing without a trace. Lu Ming, Xiaoqing, let's meet again 10,000 years later. Fei Huang also turned around and followed Tang Feng. After a short pause, the Heaven Destroyer's base began to operate normally again. At this moment, Tang Jun had already explained the Great Tribulation of Origins in detail. Most people understood the meaning of the Great Tribulation of Origins. Afterwards, under the arrangements of a few peak god lords, the Heaven Destroyer's base began to operate again. The formations shone with a dazzling light, continuing to envelop the Heaven Destroyer's base. Of course, without the support of the Origin Realm experts, the formations dimmed by a lot. However, overall, the Origin Tribulation this time was still more beneficial for the Heaven Destroyer. Originally, the Heaven Destroyer's base would not be able to withstand the 150 Origin Realm experts sent by the Heavenly Palace. It would be breached in 2 days at most. However, the Origin Tribulation had allowed them to avoid it. However, they were certain that the crisis was not over yet. The Origin Realm experts could not take action, but those below the Origin Realm could. The Heavenly Palace had more God Lords than them. They believed that the God Lord army from the Heavenly Palace would descend soon. The war was not over yet. Chapter 47:20. The members of Heaven Destroyer understood that the war this time was far from over. The Heavenly Palace was able to mobilize 150 Origins. Clearly they had mobilized all the Origins guarding the Dark Universe. Although they did not know what had happened in the Dark Universe, it was definitely not good news for Heaven Destroyer. Since the Heavenly Palace could mobilize all the Origins guarding the Dark Universe, could they mobilize all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe? The last time they entered the world of light, the Heavenly Palace could mobilize many more Divine Masters than Heaven Destroyer. The number reached a shocking 8,000. If all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe were mobilized, the number would be 3 times more than Heaven Destroyer's Divine Masters. Moreover, Heaven Destroyer did not have any advantage in a one-on-one battle between Divine Masters. They might even be inferior. Under the Origins, the Celestial Clan's talent was truly astonishing. However, overall, the unforeseen event this time was still beneficial to Heaven Destroyer. Originally, they would not be able to last for 2 days. Now the crisis was temporarily resolved. Another thing was that Heaven Destroyer's encampment was filled with formations. Although these formations could not stop Origins, they were very effective against Divine Masters. Even if the Heavenly Palace's Divine Masters wanted to break through, they would not be able to do so in a short period of time. Even if all the Divine Masters of the Heavenly Palace were mobilized, they would probably be able to hold on for thousands of years. After thousands of years, they might be able to turn the tables. As everyone waited nervously, 3 months passed. 3 months later, roars could be heard from the distant void. There was also the sound of war chariots crushing the void. In the distance, war chariots appeared before everyone's eyes. Hundreds of Heavenly Palace experts stood on each war chariot. They were all Divine Masters. There were dozens of war chariots in total. They were lined up in a row. So many Divine Masters. The members of Heaven Destroyer turned pale when they saw this. On the dozens of war chariots, there were more than 16,000 Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace in total. More than 16,000 Divine Masters. This number was just too shocking. Without a doubt, the Heavenly Palace must have mobilized all the Divine Masters guarding the Dark Universe. What had happened in the Dark Universe? Why did the Heavenly Palace not need to guard it? No one could figure it out. On the war chariot in the middle stood Yi Immortal, Yi Qiuxian, and the 4 most powerful Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. Even if there is an unforeseen event, you traitors, you will not escape the fate of annihilation. The Divine Master's Immortal's cold voice. He did not know that the great calamity of Source was triggered by Tang Feng in advance. He only thought that some unforeseen event had occurred. The arrival of the Origin Tribulation in advance is enough to prove that we are recognized by the universe, which is why we received help. Your Heavenly Palace is destined to be destroyed in the future. A Divine Master from Heaven Destroyer sneered. Is that so? Do you think you can stop us with this formation alone? Without the control of the Origin, the power of this formation is reduced by more than 10 times. The Divine Master of Yi Immortal said calmly. Then he waved his hand. Swoosh, swoosh. The 16,000 Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace moved. They flew out, gathered together and suddenly attacked. The 16,000 Divine Masters attacked together. Although they were not as powerful as the 150 Origin experts, they were still powerful. 16,000 attacks blasted toward the Heaven Destroyer. Boom, boom. A series of explosions rang out as more than 16,000 attacks landed on the formation, causing ripples to appear on its surface. However, it was firmly blocked by the formation. The members of the Sky Exterminating Troop looked delighted. The Heaven Destroyer's formation was still very stable. Although without the control of the Origin experts, its power had weakened a lot, but that was only for the Origin experts. It was still very stable for the Divine Masters. Even if they did not control it, the Divine Masters from the Heavenly Palace could not be defeated in a short time. Continue, the Divine Master of Yi Immortal ordered. The Heavenly Palace's Origin experts continued to attack. More than 10 waves of attacks were launched in a row, but they did not affect the formation of the Heaven Exterminating Troop much. Retreat. At this moment, the Divine Master of Yi Immortal suddenly ordered. The 16,000 divine masters stopped attacking and took a few steps back. They did not attack anymore. Could it be that they know they can't break it and are not attacking anymore? Some of the members of Heaven Destroyer were overjoyed. It's not that simple. They were probably probing. The formation's energy is limited. Although they can't break it in a short time, they will definitely break it after a long time. I estimate that the formation can only last for 1,000 years. Even if we control the formation, it can only last for a few hundred years. A peak-level Divine Master expert said. It can only last for 1,000 years? The expressions of the others were very ugly. 1,000 years was just a blink of an eye for them. It was over in the blink of an eye. What could have happened in just over 1,000 years? When the formation was broken, the Heaven Destroyer would probably be destroyed in the face of 3 times the number of enemies. Although the eruption of the Origin Tribulation had bought them more than 1,000 years, what could they do in 1,000 years? Cheer up. No matter what, we've gained more than 1,000 years. Maybe there will be a turn for the better in 1,000 years. What we need to do now is to defend the base and buy as much time as we can. Do you understand? A loud roar spread throughout the base and shook everyone's hearts. It was Lion who had spoken. Many people trembled and came to their senses. Yes, no matter what the future held, the most important thing was to defend the base first. Let's control the formation and replenish its energy. Let's go. Many figures flashed and appeared at the base of the formation and began to replenish the formation's energy. The Heaven Destroyer had around 5,000 Divine Masters in total. 5,000 Divine Masters had entered the World of Rings, but more than 1,000 had died, leaving only 4,000. However, the Divine Masters who had entered the World of Rings were not all the Divine Masters of the Heaven Destroyer. At that time, some Divine Masters had been delayed by other matters. This time it was a matter of life and death, so all the Divine Masters had been summoned. As a result, there were only around 5,000 left. The experts of the Heavenly Palace did not stop for too long. Soon they continued to attack. This time only around 8,000 Divine Masters attacked. The other half stayed behind to rest. Clearly, the Heavenly Palace wanted to use the same tactic as the Origin Tribulation, taking turns to attack the Heaven Destroyer's formation to deplete the energy of the formation. They took turns to attack, but they did not give the Heaven Destroyer a chance to replenish its energy. Kill. A loud roar that shook the void rang out. More than 8,000 people began to attack. Energy rampaged, attacking the formation and causing ripples. About half a day later, the 8,000 people at the front became tired and retreated. The other 8,000 people continued to attack. Chapter 47:21. More than 16,000 Divine Lords took turns attacking the Heavenly Palace, and several months passed in the blink of an eye. The Heaven Destroyer's formation showed no signs of being breached. It was still very stable. Lu Ming finally relaxed. It seemed that the Heaven Destroyer's formation could last for 1,000 years without any problems. Lu Ming found a place to cultivate in seclusion. Before Fei Huang had sealed herself, she had given him nearly 200 million desolate crystals. His top priority was to increase his cultivation. Sealing himself at reciprocity was an opportunity for him. If he could make continuous breakthroughs and reach peak Divine Lord, as long as he reached the 9th level of the Divine Lord realm, he would be virtually invincible under reciprocity. Of course, this was with the exception of freakish geniuses like Yi Immortal and Yi Qiuxian. In an era where reciprocity couldn't be produced, the stronger he was, the more he could seize the initiative. With a wave of his hand, a large number of desolate crystals appeared, and he began to absorb their energy. Tang Jun also went into seclusion. Before Fei Huang had sealed herself, she had given Tang Jun many resources to help her break through. Lu Ming refined the primordial crystals at a very fast speed. Piles of primordial crystals were refined by Lu Ming, turning into pure energy that entered his body and eventually turned into taboo energy. Lu Ming's cultivation rapidly increased. However, breaking through wasn't so easy. Lu Ming was currently at the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm. If he wanted to break through to the 7th level, he would need an astonishing 50 to 60 million desolate crystals. With so many great desolate crystals, even refining them would take quite a bit of time. Although Lu Ming's current speed of refining the primordial crystals was astonishing, it still took him a few months to refine 60 million pieces of primordial crystals. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm, and the forbidden energy in his body was extremely dense. Boom. Lu Ming's cultivation broke through, breaking through the bottleneck and reaching a new level. 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. After attaining the 7th level Divine Master realm, the taboo physique in Lu Ming's body had increased tremendously. Lu Ming circulated his forbidden power, and the tens of thousands of cells in his body were filled with a dazzling radiance. Then a door appeared, and inside the door was a yellow mud road. At this moment, the yellow dirt road extended a lot further, leading straight into the pitch-black depths. I'm already a 7th-tier godly master. Once I reach the 9th-tier godly master realm, the yellow mud road should be able to connect to Universe Ocean. Lu Ming smiled. Reaching the 7th level of the Divine Master realm had given him a lot of confidence. Now he was confident enough to face off against an ordinary peak Divine Master. He was also confident that he could defeat his opponent. If he used all his cards, it would be normal for him to kill his opponent. Lu Ming was already confident in dealing with ordinary peak-level Divine Masters, except for those extremely abnormal peak-level Divine Masters. There are still nearly 140 million desolate crystals left. Let's refine them all. Lu Ming continued to refine the desolate crystals. Time flew by and a year went by. In a year, Lu Ming had refined all the desolate crystals in his possession. His cultivation had made great progress. Of course, he was still far from breaking through to level 8 God Lord. Based on his previous experience, he would need at least 500 to 600 million desolate crystals if he wanted to break through from level 7 God Lord to level 8 God Lord. 140 million desolate crystals was still far from enough. Over the past year, the people of the Heavenly Palace had been constantly attacking the Heaven Destroyer's base, taking turns to attack without stopping. It was obvious that the Heavenly Palace had made up their minds. They would not stop until they had broken through the Heaven Destroyer's base. Lu Ming came out of seclusion and planned to walk around and relax before going back into seclusion to cultivate. He did not need to participate in maintaining the array. The people of the Heaven Destroyer had high hopes for him. His goal was to cultivate and increase his cultivation. Because the potential of others was limited, they would not improve much in just 1,000 years. But peerless geniuses like Lu Ming were different. They had endless potential. If they could improve, it would be the greatest wealth for the Heaven Destroyer. Look, what's that? Suddenly someone shouted in shock. Lu Ming could not help but look outside the base. Kaboom! Brr! Brr! Outside the base, behind the experts of the Heavenly Palace, a violent roar came, accompanied by the roar of beasts. Then demonic chi surged, covering the sky and earth. Demons! Demons! Many people shouted. Yes, there were demons in the demonic chi, and they were very powerful demons. All of them were demon lord demons. Each demon was filled with dense demonic chi. They were huge, and when they spread their wings they covered the sky. There were about 6,000 to 7,000 of them. 6,000 to 7,000 demon lords equivalent to god lords. What surprised the people of the Heaven Destroyer the most was that these demons stopped not far away from the Heavenly Palace and did not attack the people of the Heavenly Palace. Attack! Break the base of the rebels. The Yi Immortal waved at the demons and gave the order. Kill! All the demons roared and rushed toward the base of the Heaven Destroyer crazily. Attacks after attacks were launched toward the base of the Heaven Destroyer. This time, all the people of the Heaven Destroyer were stunned. They could not believe it. How could this be? Why would the demons listen to the orders of the heavenly human race? What's going on? Don't the demons have a feud with the heavenly human race? They are natural enemies. Why would they help the heavenly human race? What happened in the dark universe? Countless people of the Heaven Destroyer shouted, full of doubts. The demons and the heavenly human race were mortal enemies. They had been killing each other for countless years. For countless years, both sides had suffered heavy casualties. There was no room for reconciliation. But now, the demons actually listened to the orders of the heavenly human race and attacked them. Moreover, the fact that the Heavenly Palace could summon the elites guarding the dark universe was right in front of them. They had to believe it. Many people's hearts sank, and their faces became more and more unsightly. Originally, it was difficult for them to deal with the Heavenly Palace alone. Even if they tried their best to control the array formation, they could only hold on for a few hundred years at most. Now that so many demons had joined, the time they could hold on would be greatly reduced. It would be good if they could hold on for 700 or 800 years. The situation was getting worse and worse for the Heaven Destroyer. Facing the demons and the elites of the Heavenly Palace, once the array formation was broken, they would die. It would be difficult for them to even escape. But there was no other way. They could only continue to control the array formation and hope for a miracle. After the 6,000 to 7,000 demon masters joined, the elites of the Heavenly Palace retreated. The Heavenly Palace, including the demons, had more than 22,000 people, close to 23,000. They were divided into two groups with more than 11,000 people in each group. The attack was much more powerful. and the energy of the array formation in the Heaven Destroyer had also been consumed a lot. I'm far from being powerful enough. I have to continue to increase my power. If the array is really broken, I can only let a lot of people into the ancient desolate ring. Lu Ming thought. He had to protect his family and his friends. He had the ancient desolate ring so many people could enter it. However, he also had to be able to protect the ancient desolate ring and fight his way out. He had to continue increasing his power. Chapter 47:22. Lu Ming continued his seclusion. However, without the ancient desolate ring, he was left with only a few hundred stalks of primary divine herbs, which could not help him break through. Thus, Lu Ming placed his focus on comprehending secret techniques and the battle character manual. The chances of activating the battle character manual's ninefold power were still not high. As his comprehension deepened, he would be able to use it more and more freely. Moreover, the more secret techniques he comprehended, the stronger his forbidden energy would be. Lu Ming entered the valley where he had comprehended secret techniques in the past and used the primordial divine voice to enter deep seclusion. Day by day, month by month, year by year passed. In the blink of an eye, 500 years had passed. In these years, Lu Ming had used the primordial divine stone to comprehend secret techniques at an increasingly fast pace. The last time Lu Ming had been in seclusion for 300 years, he had only comprehended 100-odd secret techniques that were similar to ancient secret techniques. In these 500 years, Lu Ming had comprehended a total of 400 secret techniques that were similar to ancient secret techniques. In addition to the previous 100, he now had a total of 500 secret techniques. These 500-odd secret techniques were about the same grade as ancient secret techniques. Each one of them was comparable to an ancient secret technique. With the addition of these 500-odd secret techniques, Lu Ming's forbidden energy was growing stronger and stronger, its might more and more astonishing. At the same level, Lu Ming's fighting strength was rapidly increasing. Now, at the same level, Lu Ming was confident that he could easily defeat an opponent like Yi Qiuxian. Of course, Lu Ming was still not confident that he could defeat an opponent like Yi Immortal. Little Ball has increased his cultivation by another level, reaching level 8 of the God Lord realm. Unfortunately, I lack materials, or else Little Ball would have improved even faster. Lu Ming muttered to himself. In these years, Little Ball had lacked a damaged source-level divine weapon, so he had only eaten some metallic materials and refined the remaining energy in his body, allowing him to reach level 8 of the God Lord realm. At level 8 of the God Lord realm, if he wanted to increase his cultivation further, he would have to eat a new damaged source-level divine weapon or even a new one, or else it would be very difficult to increase his cultivation level. Little Ball had refined all the materials he had eaten in the past. It's been 500 years. I wonder how the array outside is doing? Lu Ming was a little worried. According to their previous estimations, the Heaven Destroyer could hold out for another 200 to 300 years at most. Lu Ming left the canyon and soared into the sky to look outside. The heavenly human tribe and abyss devils were still attacking. However, after 500 years, the light of the Heaven Destroyer station's array formation had dimmed greatly. Every time it was attacked, it would shake violently and cause ripples. From the looks of it, he really couldn't hold on for another 300 years. Everyone in Heaven Destroyer had anxious and nervous expressions on their faces. Layers of crisis were pressing down on them, making it hard for them to breathe. This is bad. Lu Ming sighed softly. If this continued, it would be really bad. Could it be that Heaven Destroyer was going to be destroyed just like the forces that resisted the Heavenly Palace in the past? Lu Ming, you finally appeared. Suddenly, a loud roar came from outside the encampment. A loud roar came through the formation. Lu Ming looked over and discovered that the person who had shouted was Yi Qiuxian. What? You want to fight me one-on-one again? Sure, tell your people from the Heavenly Palace to retreat. I'll go out and fight you. Lu Ming said loudly. Haha, who wants to fight you one-on-one? Don't use such a cheap delaying tactic. Yi Qiuxian sneered and said, Lu Ming, I just want to tell you a piece of news. Some of your rebels are still scattered outside or cultivating in some places. There's a woman called Xian Yanqing. I heard that she's your wife. Coincidentally, she was discovered by us not long ago. What? Upon hearing this, Lu Ming's heart trembled wildly. Xian Yanqing was discovered by the people from the Heavenly Palace? What about now? Lu Ming was a little anxious. However, he didn't show it on his face. He pretended to be calm and said, Ha, nonsense. Xiao Qing is in the Heaven Destroyer station. How could she be discovered by you? Are you trying to trick me to go out and disturb my state of mind? Nonsense? Haha, that location is the boundless demon abyss. Our people will take her down soon. At that time you'll see if I'm talking nonsense or not. Yi Qiuxin laughed. Lu Ming's heart sank. Back then, Fei Huang did send Xian Yanqing to the boundless demon abyss to cultivate. Yi Qiuxin even knew the exact location. Xian Yanqing was facing a crisis. Crack. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. His heart was filled with strong killing intent. Then he turned and flew in a direction. Lu Ming. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. It was Tang Jun. Lu Ming, you want to go out and save Shaoqing? This must be the Heavenly Palace's scheme. They must have a lot of experts in the boundless demon abyss. If you go, you'll be walking right into their trap. Tang Jun said. I know, but I must go. Lu Ming said in an unwavering tone. How could he not know that this trip would be very dangerous? However, he had to go. He definitely could not sit back and watch Xian Yanqing fall into danger. Even if it was a mountain of swords and a sea of flames, he had to give it a try. I'll go with you, Tang Jun said. She knew that she could not stop Lu Ming. No, you don't have to go. I alone am enough. Lu Ming said. I must go. After all, Xian Yanqing was my sister in my previous life. Tang Jun said. I said I alone am enough. You'll only be a hindrance if you go. Lu Ming said coldly. He did not want Tang Jun to take the risk with him. This trip would be very dangerous. Moreover, he was telling the truth. Although Tang Jun's cultivation had broken through another level and reached the 7th level of the Divine Master Realm, which was the same as Lu Ming's, she was definitely not a match for Lu Ming in terms of combat strength. Moreover, Lu Ming still had Qiuqiu and the Bone Demon. He was more confident if he acted alone. If he brought Tang Jun along, she would really be a hindrance. You? Tang Jun glared at Lu Ming. She had never been looked down upon like this before. However, what made her want to vomit blood was that she found that she could not refute. Lu Ming's combat strength was indeed above hers. Swoosh. Lu Ming stepped forward and disappeared like a phantom, leaving Tang Jun standing in the void in a daze. Soon Lu Ming came to a large hall. There was a wormhole in the hall that led to the outside. Heaven Destroyer had certainly left a way out for itself. There were a few wormholes that led to different places in the universe ruins. If the array was really broken, Heaven Destroyer would arrange for some people to escape through the wormholes and leave a spark for Heaven Destroyer. Now, Lu Ming was going to leave Heaven Destroyer's base temporarily through the wormhole and go to the Infinite Fiend Abyss. Lu Ming, are you really going to leave? This trip will be very dangerous. Lion appeared not far away without making a sound. I have to leave, Lu Ming said. That's good too. If you can save your wife, don't come back. Find a place to hide and cultivate in peace. It won't be too late to kill your way to the Heavenly Palace after you've completed your cultivation, Lion said. Chapter 47:23. Lion did not persuade Lu Ming to stay. He understood Lu Ming and knew that once Lu Ming made a decision, he would not change it easily. If I don't die, I will definitely come back, Lu Ming said in his heart. How could he not come back? His family and friends were still here. How could he not come back? The reason why he did not plan to put his family and friends into the Chaos Ring was because this trip was really dangerous. If they followed him, they might die and the Chaos Ring would fall into the hands of the Heavenly Palace. If they stayed here, they would be safe for at least 200 to 300 years. Maybe there would be a turn for the better. Take care. In the end, Lion said. Don't worry, I will be fine. Lu Ming smiled and then stepped into the wormhole in the main hall and disappeared. After some time, maybe a few hours or maybe a day or two, Lu Ming appeared on a small fragment of a continent. This should be the smoke region. It should not be far from the infinite demon abyss. Lu Ming took out the map of the universe ruins and looked at it. There were several wormholes in the Heaven Destroyer base that could lead out. The one Lu Ming chose was the closest to the infinite demon abyss. After knowing his location, Lu Ming's figure flashed and flew toward the infinite demon abyss. The infinite demon abyss, even in the universe ruins, was relatively remote. Very few people came here. The infinite demon abyss was on a fragment of a continent. There were almost no other continent fragments around this fragment. It was empty. After some time, Lu Ming arrived near this fragment of a continent. Looking from afar, the entire continent fragment was shrouded in a thick demonic aura. The situation inside could not be seen. Lu Ming restrained his aura to the extreme and rushed toward the fragment of a continent. He was on high alert. There might be experts from the Heavenly Palace lying in ambush in this fragment of a continent. He did not dare to be careless. Soon, Lu Ming rushed through the thick demonic aura and landed on the continent. This continent was dead silent and filled with dense demonic qi. There were no plants at all. What entered one's eyes were bare rocks and mountains. Where exactly is the immeasurable devil abyss? Lu Ming muttered. This piece of land was neither big nor small. It would take some effort to find the boundless demonic abyss. Lu Ming head north. I can sense that the demonic chi is the thickest there. The immeasurable demonic abyss might be there. Bone Demon's voice rang out in his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. That's right, the Bone Devil was the first devil bone in the primitive universe. He was the ancestor of the Devil Dao. Naturally, he was very sensitive to devil chi. Perhaps Bone Demon would be of great use on this trip. Lu Ming no longer hesitated and quickly flew towards the north. Along the way they did not encounter any masters from the Heavenly Palace, nor did they encounter any danger. After a while, a large palace appeared in front of Lu Ming. This palace looked dilapidated and had weathered the wind and frost of time. No one knew how many years it had been there. It was very likely that it was left behind from the last era. Lu Ming, the place with the densest demonic chi, is behind this palace. Bone Demon said. Lu Ming nodded. He did not intend to pass through this palace. Instead, he went around it from one side, intending to bypass it. Whoosh! Suddenly, a few rays of light shot out from the palace at an astonishing speed. There were a total of 3 rays of light, 1 sword ray and 2 spear rays. They were extremely sharp. Ultimate heavenly energy. It's the masters of the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Without any hesitation, the battle god's spear appeared in his hand. The battle god's spear shook and stabbed out. 3 spear rays burst out and pierced towards the 3 rays of light. Boom, boom, boom. There were 3 sounds of collision. The 3 rays of light were blocked. Lu Ming was pushed back by a powerful force. He retreated for 10,000 meters before he stabilized himself. 3 figures appeared in front of him. Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. There were indeed 3 heavenly human tribe masters. Moreover, they were all at the peak of the almighty Lord of Heaven level. At this moment, the 3 Lord of Heaven stared at Lu Ming with their eyes wide open. Their eyes were filled with shock. Just now, the 3 of them had joined forces, but Lu Ming had blocked their attacks. They could clearly sense that no one else had made a move. The one who had blocked their attacks was Lu Ming himself. Lu Ming's combat strength had reached such a level that he could fight the 3 Lord of Heaven alone? Join forces and kill him. One of the Lord of Heaven shouted. Swoosh, swoosh. The 3 Lord of Heaven's figures flashed and attacked Lu Ming together. This time they pushed their combat strength to the maximum. All kinds of killing moves poured out in torrents. They were determined to kill Lu Ming. Bone Demon, I'll leave it to you, Lu Ming thought. The next moment, Bone Demon flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows and turned into a huge black skeleton. Its palm was like a demonic blade as it slashed out continuously. Clang, clang, clang. There were 3 consecutive bangs. The 3 Lord of Heaven's attacks were blocked by Bone Demon. Kill? Bone Demon roared and launched a counterattack. However, the 3 Lord of Heaven's combat strength was also very strong. Although Bone Demon was strong, it would be extremely difficult for him to defeat the 3 Lord of Heaven. For a moment, the 2 sides were evenly matched. However, there were obviously more experts from the Heavenly Palace lying in ambush here. In the palace, several figures flashed and rushed out. Their speed was very shocking. Before they arrived, their attacks were already attacking Lu Ming. It was the Lord of Heaven again. And there were 3 of them. However, one of the attacks made Lu Ming's muscles tense up. Terrifying, terrifying. Lu Ming felt a fatal danger. One of the Lord of Heaven's strength was very shocking. Qiu. Lu Ming did not hesitate to send a telepathic message to Qiu. Qiu turned into armor and covered Lu Ming's body. Whoosh. Lu Ming activated the War God's spear and swept it out, colliding with the 3 attacks. 2 of the attacks were blocked by Lu Ming, but the other attack was too terrifying. It directly passed through the War God's spear and bombarded Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he retreated rapidly. Fortunately, Qiu's armor was able to block the attack. This person is very strong. He is much stronger than an ordinary Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming stared at one of the Lord of Heaven. This person was the tallest and wore silver armor. He held a silver spear in his hand and had an oppressive aura. Obviously, this was a terrifying Lord of Heaven, a peerless genius. Lu Ming had never seen this person before. He should have been guarding the Dark Universe and did not participate in the fight for the Human King's body. He felt that in a battle of the same level, this person's combat strength was stronger than Gu Mo's. Just now, Lu Ming had activated the battle secret art to increase his combat strength by 9 times, but he still could not block this person's attack. Lu Ming reckoned that he would need to activate his origin source power in order to contend with this person. In order to deal with him, the Heavenly Palace had really put in a lot of effort. They had actually ambushed 6 Lord of Heaven here. Chapter 47-24. But this was to be expected. Back in the Halo world, Yi Qiuxin already knew that Lu Ming had the Bone Demon by his side, and that this person alone was comparable to several Lord of Heaven. Thus, in order to kill Lu Ming, the Heavenly Palace naturally had many experts lying in ambush. Among them was a top-class Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming, it seems like you've made another breakthrough in cultivation. As expected, a scourge like you can't be left alive. Kill. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven coldly roared as he gripped his silver spear and charged at Lu Ming. The spear pierced through the air with astonishing speed, thrusting toward Lu Ming's forehead. Let me. Qiuqiu's voice rang out as he quickly wriggled, transforming into a mirror in front of Lu Ming's chest. A pillar of light shot out from the mirror and instantly enveloped the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Qiuqiu was now an 8th-tier god lord, so his fighting strength had soared. The illusory realm created by the pillar of light was also much stronger. Although the silver-armored Lord of Heaven was powerful, he was still somewhat affected. His movements stiffened for a moment, and his eyes went blank for a moment. A good chance. Lu Ming's eyes brightened as he used the heaven-cleaving style. Man and spear became one, transforming into a spear of light that stabbed at the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Break for me. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared as he madly struggled to break free of the illusory realm's influence. He swung his spear to block Lu Ming's attack. However, he had still been affected by the illusory realm. In his haste, he could not use all of his strength, only a portion of it. How could a portion of his strength be a match for Lu Ming? Clang. The 2 spears collided, and Lu Ming knocked aside the silver spear. Lu Ming's spear did not stop there, continuing to stab at the man's forehead. The man's pupils constricted as he rapidly retreated, hoping to avoid Lu Ming's attack. However, it was already too late. Lu Ming was even faster. Just as he was about to stab the opponent's vital points, 2 weapons suddenly appeared from both sides, blocking Lu Ming's spear. The long spear vibrated and Lu Ming staggered back a few steps. His attack was interrupted. They were the other 2 Lord of Heaven. What a pity. Lu Ming sighed softly. Just now, when he and Qiuqiu cooperated, they really had a chance of killing this top-notch Lord of Heaven. Unfortunately, the other party was not alone and had companions. The other 2 Lord of Heaven stepped in and blocked Lu Ming's killing blow. It would be difficult to find such an opportunity later on. Lu Ming, you're courting death. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was enraged after escaping death. He uttered a furious roar as his figure split into more than 10 clones and charged at Lu Ming from all directions. Every single one of the clones looked real, and it was difficult to tell which was the real one. At the same time, the other 2 Lord of Heaven also charged at Lu Ming. Qiuqiu transformed back into armor and covered Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming brandished his war god spear and fought with the other party. However, once they exchanged blows, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, dealing with an ordinary Lord of Heaven was more than enough. It would not be difficult to kill him even if he used all his means. He could even deal with 2 of them, but it would be very difficult to deal with 3 of them. And this silver-armored Lord of Heaven was extremely powerful, far surpassing the combined strength of 3 ordinary Lord of Heaven. In a head-on confrontation, Lu Ming was no match for him. Fortunately, with Qiuqiu he could tangle with the other party for a while. The 2 sides quickly exchanged more than 10 moves. Bone Demon, let's go. Don't get entangled with him. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bone Demon. Then, he suddenly stimulated his origin energy and a trace of the power of the war god's spear, pushing the silver-armored Lord of Heaven back dozens of meters. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and rushed out of the encirclement. He rushed to Bone Demon's side and swung his war god's spear, sending a Lord of Heaven who was fighting Bone Demon flying. Bone Demon seized the opportunity and turned into a ray of demonic light, rushing into Lu Ming's glabella. Lu Ming used the Great Aurora technique and quickly rushed through the palace, flying north. Chase. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven shouted, his face rather gloomy. There were 6 heavenly lords as well as a top-notch heavenly lord like him, but they did not manage to take Lu Ming down. It would be a great disgrace if word got out. Lu Ming flew past the palace and saw a pitch-black abyss. This abyss was very long and wide. It was filled with demonic chi and he couldn't see how deep it was. Infinite demonic abyss. Lu Ming was sure that this was the infinite demonic abyss, and Xian Yanqing was below. Lu Ming didn't hesitate at all. He rushed into the abyss and fell rapidly. The 6 heaven lords also chased after the abyss, following closely behind Lu Ming. Greater teleportation technique. Lu Ming's mind stirred. He circulated the forbidden power and cast the transference skill. His body, which was originally falling rapidly, disappeared right away. He shifted forward. The infinite demonic abyss was originally filled with dense demonic qi, which seriously affected one's vision. Lu Ming suddenly moved out, and the sixth Lord of Heaven instantly lost track of Lu Ming. They stopped in midair and carefully scanned their surroundings, but they didn't find Lu Ming. Damn it, send a message to the people below the infinite demonic abyss. Lu Ming has broken through the seal and entered the infinite demonic abyss. Have them attack together. They must kill Lu Ming below the infinite demonic abyss. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven said with a cold face. Immediately, one of the Lord of Heaven took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message. Don't worry, the exterminating Lord of Heaven is below chasing after that Xian Yanqing. Once Lu Ming encounters the exterminating Lord of Heaven, only death awaits him. Another Lord of Heaven said. The exterminating Lord of Heaven was one of the 4 strongest Lords of Heaven in the Heavenly Palace. His strength was ridiculously strong, standing at the limit of the Divine Master Realm, far surpassing the other Lords of Heaven. The other Lords of Heaven couldn't even block a single move from the Lord of Heaven and would be killed instantly. After the message was sent, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the other 5 continued to descend, joining in the pursuit of Lu Ming. Lu Ming moved about 1,000 miles away, but he was still in midair above the infinite demonic abyss. He didn't dare to move too far away. After all, he wasn't familiar with the infinite demonic abyss, so he didn't dare to move recklessly. If he ended up in an irresistible danger zone, he would vomit blood. As long as he could avoid the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the others, it would be fine. Fortunately, he was fine. Lu Ming continued to descend rapidly. The infinite demonic abyss was very deep. Lu Ming descended for 1,000,000 miles before he finally reached the bottom of the abyss. The bottom of the infinite demonic abyss wasn't much different from the top. It was deathly still, without any living creatures or plants, filled with demonic energy. However, the density of the demonic energy was much denser than the top. Lu Ming, go in that direction. There are mysterious and powerful fluctuations coming from that direction. There must be something strange. That little girl, Xian Yanqing, might be in that direction. Bone Demon flew out and pointed in a direction. Go. Lu Ming flew in that direction. After a short distance, Bone Demon suddenly shouted, "Careful!" Next, the Bone Demon struck a black shadow with his palm, causing it to scatter. However, there were still 2 black shadows that pounced on Lu Ming with shocking speed. With Bone Demon's warning, Lu Ming reacted. The War God's spear appeared and stabbed out twice, hitting the 2 shadows. Chapter 47:25. The spear of the God of War pierced through the 2 shadows, but the shadows were like phantoms. The spear of the God of War didn't seem to have hit anything. The 2 shadows continued to charge towards Lu Ming and rushed into Lu Ming's body. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart was filled with murderous intent. The negative emotions that had been accumulated during the siege of the Heavenly Palace seemed to have exploded. Kill? Lu Ming shouted. His eyes were red and his face was distorted. But in the next second, Lu Ming's eyes regained some clarity and he shouted, "Get out of my way!" His soul vibrated and the forbidden power was activated. His body shone brightly. Screams came from his body and at the same time, wisps of black mist were released. The black mist seemed to be alive. It was like a few small snakes that wanted to drill into the ground. "Where are you going?" Guillemot shouted and opened his mouth. A few wisps of black mist were sucked into Guillemot's mouth. The soul flames in Guillemot's eyes flickered and he looked intoxicated. "Phew, so powerful. It can trigger and strengthen my inner demon." Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. The shadow just now was too powerful. He attacked with the spear of the God of War but it couldn't kill it. Instead, the shadow rushed into his body and triggered his negative emotions, creating an inner demon. It was dangerous. If he wasn't careful, Lu Ming would be completely taken over by the inner demon and become its puppet. "If I'm not wrong, this is the immeasurable demonic soul," Guillemot said. Immeasurable demonic soul? Lu Ming was puzzled. It's a special type of demonic creature. It's very strange and powerful. It can detonate the negative emotions of any living being, causing them to be controlled by negative emotions and completely sink into depravity, becoming the puppet of the immeasurable demonic soul. Fortunately, your willpower is strong and you managed to break free. Otherwise, you would be in danger. Guillemot explained. Why are you fine? You can absorb the immeasurable demonic soul? Lu Ming asked curiously. Because I have a way to deal with them. Moreover, the immeasurable devil soul is a supreme treasure to Xioma cultivators. After destroying their bodies, they will leave behind a strand of incomparably pure devil chi. Shima cultivators can directly absorb it and transform it into their own power. The effect is much better than absorbing and refining primordial crystals. Guamo said. So that's the case. No wonder Elder Fei Huang wanted to send Xiaoqing here to train. Xiaoqing's cultivation can rapidly rise in this place. There is no lack of energy, Lu Ming pondered. Bone Demon, how did you deal with them? Can you teach me? Lu Ming said. That's simple. The immeasurable demonic soul's body is in between the real and the illusory. Normal attacks are ineffective against them. However, your taboo power can actually cause damage to the immeasurable demonic soul. You just need to attack a few more times. However, I will teach you a more useful method. As long as you attack, your power will explode with a special vibration, and you will be able to destroy the body of the immeasurable devil soul. Immediately, Guemo imparted a method to Lu Ming. This method was actually very simple. It was much easier than the ancient secret technique. It was just a small trick to use power. Lu Ming learned it immediately. After learning it, they continued their journey. In the next 10 minutes, they didn't encounter any immeasurable devil souls. However, there were still immeasurable devil souls attacking them. This time, Lu Ming used the Bone Demon Sex method. He swept out his long spear and hit 2 immeasurable devil souls. The 2 immeasurable devil souls collided and exploded, turning into 2 wisps of pure devil chi that were absorbed by Guemo. As the 2 of them continued their journey, they were attacked by immeasurable devil souls from time to time. There were strong and weak immeasurable devil souls. Even if Lu Ming had mastered the method, it was still difficult to deal with the powerful immeasurable devil souls. Of course, it was easy to deal with Guemo. Guemo was naturally adept at dealing with this kind of devil. According to him, he had at least 10 methods to deal with these immeasurable devil souls. The one he taught Lu Ming was the simplest one. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours had passed. In these 2 hours, Lu Ming didn't encounter Xian Yanqing or other experts from the Heavenly Palace. The reason was that the immeasurable devil abyss was too big. Needless to say, it was tens of thousands of miles wide. Who knew how long it was? Moreover, the terrain was extremely complicated. Huge rocks and peaks were all over the immeasurable devil abyss. From time to time, immeasurable devil souls would appear, causing Lu Ming and the others to be unable to speed up. In such a complicated terrain and vast area, it was really difficult to find a person in a place where they would be attacked from time to time. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he looked at a huge rock. On this huge rock there was a circle. This circle was obviously not natural. It was carved by someone. What's so special about this circle? Could it be that Xian Yanqing was the one who carved it? Bone Demon seemed to have noticed something and asked. That's right. This circle is indeed carved by Xiaoqing. This is a kind of signal that we use to communicate with each other. It can point out the direction of her current location. Xiaoqing must still be alive. She might be trapped somewhere and my sound transmission jade talisman can't be sent out, Lu Ming said. This place didn't suppress the communication jade talisman. He wanted to use it to send a message to Xian Yanqing, but he found that it couldn't get out. A circle can point out the direction. Wait, I see. Bone Demon looked carefully. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said, I see. Although this circle doesn't have any arrow to point out the direction, the line on one side of the circle is thinner than the line on the other side. Although it's just a little thinner, it should be deliberately left there. Senior Bone Demon, your eyes are really sharp, Lu Ming said with a smile. The line on one side of the circle was indeed thinner. Lu Ming, although this method is good, the flaw is also very obvious. If I can see it, so can others. It's easy to guess the meaning of this circle. Xian Yanqing pointed out the direction for you. Doesn't that mean that she also pointed out the direction for the people of the Heavenly Palace and exposed herself? Bone Demon said seriously. Of course it's not that simple. Lu Ming smiled and said, look carefully. There are actually 3 small gaps in this circle. Yes, there are indeed 3 gaps. Bone Demon said after careful observation. I made an agreement with Xiaoqing. If there is 1 gap, it means that she carved the first circle. Then her position is the direction where the line on the ball is thinner. If there are 2 gaps, it means that she carved the second circle. Then we have to change our view. The direction where the line on the ball is thinner is the opposite direction where Xiaoqing is. Lu Ming explained. I see. What about the 3 gaps? Bone Demon asked. Chapter 47:26. 3 notches means that this is the 3rd circle carved by Xiaoqing. Then we can see it differently. The direction where the lines of the ball are thinner is the direction where Xiaoqing is. Lu Ming said. Wonderful. It's so unpredictable. Even if the heavenly palace sees it, they won't be able to guess where Xian Yanqing is. They can only look around blindly. Guamo said. Let's go. Lu Ming didn't delay any longer. He flew out with Guamo according to the ball's instructions. Sure enough, after a while Lu Ming saw another circle. There were 4 small notches on this ball. Obviously it was the 4th circle carved by Xian Yanqing. Naturally, there were different ways to identify the 4th circle. They continued to follow the guidance of the circle. Just like that, one by one Lu Ming found the balls. After finding the 9th circle, they came to a place filled with jagged rocks of strange shapes. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, suddenly the ground was filled with runes. These runes intertwined and formed a large array. The array condensed beams of sword gleams and slashed toward Lu Ming and Bone Demon. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He took out the war god's spear and prepared to block. But the sword light stopped halfway and turned into wisps of devil chi and dissipated. Lu Ming. A delicate shout rang out, and the voice was filled with a strong sense of surprise. Then a figure floated out from the rocks. Who else could it be but Xian Yanqing? Shao Qing. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He went up to her. The two stood facing each other and hugged. After a long time they separated. Shao Qing, it's great that you're fine. By the way, how did you know I would come here and carve a mark to guide me here? Lu Ming asked. The people from the heavenly palace said that they would lead you here. They wanted to anger me and influence me. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. You met people from the heavenly palace? How did you escape? Lu Ming carefully examined him and discovered that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had greatly increased compared to before. He had already reached the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. This speed of improvement could be said to be shockingly fast. Actually, this was normal. This place was definitely very suitable for Xian Yanqing to cultivate. In addition, Lu Ming's cultivation base had not improved much in the past 800 years. He had only improved by 1 level. The rest of his time was spent on comprehending secret techniques and the battle character formula. As for Xian Yanqing, she could constantly improve here. Furthermore, she had the memories of her past life and the origin seed. Naturally, her improvement would be very fast. However, even if Xian Yanqing reached the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm, he was still far from being a match for the experts of the Heavenly Palace. The people sent by the Heavenly Palace this time were likely to be 9th level Divine Lords or peak Divine Lords. Xian Yanqing was definitely no match for them. Once he encountered them, it would be very dangerous. This was why Lu Ming had been so worried. Senior Fei Huang had once left behind some traps in the boundless devil abyss. It was because of Senior Fei Huang's traps that I was able to avoid a calamity and shake off the experts of the heavenly human race. Senior Fei Huang has also set up a powerful killing and concealing array here. I have been hiding here for the past few days and the people of the heavenly palace have not found me. Xian Yanqing explained. Lu Ming finally understood. It turned out that Fei Huang had already left behind a backup plan. Lu Ming, did something happen outside? The people of the heavenly palace were clamoring that the heaven destroyer would be destroyed soon. What happened? Xian Yanqing asked again. She had been in seclusion all this time and she knew nothing about the outside world. It's like this. Lu Ming immediately recounted the major events that had happened in the universe during this time. What? Something like this actually happened. When Xian Yanqing heard this, his heart beat wildly and he found it hard to calm down. At the same time, he was incomparably worried. The heaven destroyer could last for 300 years at most. What would happen after that? Xian Yanqing's brows were tightly knitted together and he remained silent. What's in that direction? Why do I feel that there's a shocking amount of devil chi and powerful fluctuations in that direction? Bone Devil looked towards the depths of the boundless demon abyss. Xian Yanqing regained his senses and said, that's where the boundless devil steel is located, and it's the core of the boundless demon abyss. The boundless devil souls here are most likely related to the boundless devil steel. Because the closer you are to the boundless devil steel, the stronger the boundless devil souls are, and the purer and denser the devil chi it contains. It's also more helpful to absorb it. Boundless devil steel. Bone Devil's eyes flickered with curiosity and he said, I feel that there's a great opportunity over there, and it might be able to improve our cultivation by leaps and bounds. Xian Yanqing sized Bone Devil up curiously. He could feel a powerful devil aura coming from Bone Devil's body. He knew that Bone Devil was a devil cultivator. It's a pity that there are too many boundless devil souls around the boundless devil steel. I can't even get close and I'll be drowned by a large number of boundless devil souls. Xian Yanqing sighed. Let's go take a look, maybe I have a way to get there. Bone Devil said. A light flashed in Xian Yanqing's eyes and he nodded. Then let's go. After all, that place is filled with boundless devil souls, and the heavenly palace's people won't come close. There's no need to be afraid of being discovered, Xian Yanqing said. With that said, he led the way into the depths of the boundless devil abyss. Xian Yanqing had stayed in the boundless devil abyss for many years, and he was very familiar with the terrain. He led Lu Ming and the others around, avoiding the heavenly palace's people as well as the boundless devil souls. They went deeper and deeper into the boundless devil abyss, and in the blink of an eye 2 days passed. What a powerful fluctuation. 2 balls of flames burned in Bone Devil's eyes, and he looked very expectant. They hid on top of a tall rock and looked into the distance. The terrain in front of them was flat, and there was a giant stone stele on the flat ground. The stone stele was huge, at least several hundred zhang tall, and it was faintly discernible in the devil chi. There were countless black shadows flying around the stone stele. These black shadows were all boundless devil souls. At a glance it was hard to tell how many there were, but there were at least several tens of thousands of them. With so many boundless devil souls, it was definitely a terrifying force. If they swarmed together, Lu Ming would definitely be trapped in his heart's devil forever, unable to extricate himself. Bone Devil, do you have a way to get past it? Lu Ming asked. Very simple, disguise us as boundless devil souls, and we can easily pass through these boundless devil souls and get close to the boundless devil stele. Did you guys notice that there are no boundless devil souls around the boundless devil stele? I'm guessing that the boundless devil souls don't dare to get close to the boundless devil stele. Bone Devil said. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing nodded. They had also noticed this point. Do you have a way to disguise us as boundless devil souls? Lu Ming asked. Simple, we'll kill a few boundless devil souls and control their devil chi. I have a way. Bone Devil said. Chapter 47:27. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the Bone Devil retreated from the area and found several immeasurable devil souls. The Bone Devil dealt with these immeasurable devil souls and took control of the devil chi left behind by the immeasurable devil souls. Thereafter, the Bone Demon began to set up, carving runes on a wisp of immeasurable demon soul. After a period of time, this wisp of immeasurable demon soul flew toward Lu Ming and turned into a gush of energy, shrouding Lu Ming within. With this ball of energy, those immeasurable devil souls will treat you as one of their kind and won't attack. The Bone Devil said. He then repeated his previous actions and arranged the remaining 2 strands of devil chi around himself and Xian Yanqing. Let's go. Don't worry, I guarantee that nothing will happen. The Bone Devil was brimming with confidence as he led the way towards the immeasurable devil stele. What else could Lu Ming say? He could only follow. Soon they were close to a large group of immeasurable devil souls. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's hearts rose to their throats. They were not as confident as the Bone Devil. If the Bone Devil's method didn't work, then it would be game over. Both of them were on high alert. If they discovered something wrong, they could run away immediately. However, the Bone Devil was extremely confident as he swaggered towards the large group of immeasurable devil souls. In the end, it was proven that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had worried too much. Those immeasurable devil souls acted as if they did not notice the Bone Devil, allowing him to swagger past them. The 2 of them breathed out in relief as they followed the Bone Devil through the large group of immeasurable devil souls. Soon they passed through the group of immeasurable devil souls and approached the immeasurable devil stele. That is, when they got close to the immeasurable devil stele, all 3 of them felt a jolt in their hearts. They had not noticed before, but there was a figure sitting cross-legged under the immeasurable devil stele. This figure was a skeleton. The skeleton had the shape of a human, but it was much bigger than a human skeleton. Just by sitting cross-legged there, the skeleton was more than 3 meters tall. Moreover, the skeleton was not white but pitch black. It was as black as ink, but it had a faint luster like a piece of black jade. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing sized up the Bone Devil. Both of them were too similar. Both of them were human skeletons in human form and pitch black like ink. The black immeasurable devil souls was sitting there without a sound. There was no movement or life force. However, a powerful pressure. Devil's might. This devil's blood devils was devil's devil soul. The bones devil's devil lord, devil soul he's devils. If devil's devil devil's devil devil devil. If devil soul, devil soul devil the devil. Of devil bone demon, is this skeleton one of your kind? Lu Ming could not help asking. He had heard from the Bone Devil that he was the first devil bone in the primitive universe that gave birth to intelligence. The Bone Devil speculated that his predecessor was probably a skeleton left behind by a peerless expert from the previous era. After the evolution of the universe, he gave birth to intelligence. The skeleton in front of them was probably left behind from the previous era. Wouldn't it be similar to the Bone Devil? I don't know. In short, I'm sure that if I can fuse with this skeleton, it will be of great help to me. You guys stay here and don't move. I'll try. After the Bone Devil finished speaking, he dashed toward the pitch-black skeleton. The pitch-black skeleton exuded a terrifying fluctuation. Ordinary people would not be able to get close to it. Even the peerless Lord of Heaven would not be able to get close to it. However, the Bone Devil was not affected by it. He continued to approach the pitch-black skeleton. Swoosh. In the end, the Bone Devil turned into a ray of devil light, rushed into the pitch-black skeleton and disappeared. Then, the powerful devil aura exuded by the pitch-black skeleton quickly retracted until it completely disappeared. The pressure on Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing disappeared. This skeleton is already under my control. Next, I'm going to fuse with it. You guys can do as you please. The Bone Devil's voice sounded, and then it went silent. Only the pitch-black skeleton remained, emitting a faint devil aura. The Bone Devil succeeded. Lu Ming's heart leaped with joy. The Bone Devil's strength would increase significantly with this pitch-black skeleton. Although it was the origin tribulation, and the Bone Devil would not be able to break through to the origin realm, his battle power would increase significantly. It would be of great help to Huang Xiaolong. Xian Yanqing's gaze was completely attracted to the immeasurable devil steel. The immeasurable devil steel looked extremely ancient. There were faint carvings on its surface that looked like the most ancient runes. This was only one side of the steel. On the other side, there were drawings of living beings of various shapes and sizes. Some of them had green faces and fangs, while others had 3 heads and 6 arms. They exuded a powerful devil aura, exuding a mysterious aura. This immeasurable devil steel is very unique. It can exude a mysterious fluctuation. I have only sensed it from afar and it has been very beneficial to me. It can help me comprehend some powerful secret arts, and it can even deepen my understanding of cultivation. Now that I've come into contact with it, this feeling is even more profound. Xian Yanqing said. It seems like this is a Devil Dao Supreme Treasure. Lu Ming nodded. He did not have the feeling that Xian Yanqing had described. Suddenly the immeasurable devil steel flashed, and a wisp of devil chi flew out from it. This wisp of devil chi flew into the distance, and the surrounding energy gathered towards it. In the end it formed a boundless devil soul. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked. It turned out that the boundless devil soul was produced by the immeasurable devil steel. This had exceeded their expectations. The pure devil chi in the boundless devil soul had come from the immeasurable devil steel. Xian Yanqing circled around the immeasurable devil steel, sizing it up. Swish. Suddenly, another wisp of devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. This time Xian Yanqing was prepared. The moment the wisp of devil chi flew out, she also flew out. Her palm reached out, forming a giant palm that grabbed at the wisp of devil chi. In the end, the wisp of devil chi was caught by Xian Yanqing. The wisp of devil chi seemed to have a life of its own as it twisted and struggled, trying to escape. However, it could not escape from Xian Yanqing's palm. She sat cross-legged and circulated her cultivation technique, slowly absorbing the wisp of devil chi. After absorbing the wisp of devil chi, Xian Yanqing's aura grew stronger. Such rich and pure devil chi. It's many times purer than the devil chi I got from the immeasurable devil soul. Xian Yanqing exclaimed in admiration. Little Qing, you can focus on your cultivation. After all, the Bone Devil is merging with his bones. I'll stand guard for you. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and continued to wait. Devil Chi didn't fly out from the immeasurable devil steel all the time. In the next few days, no Devil Chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. After 3 days, 2 wisps of Devil Chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel and were caught by Xian Yanqing. Chapter 47:28. After catching the 2 strands of devil chi, Xian Yanqing slowly refined them and absorbed them into his body. After refining them, he continued to wait. A few days later, more devil chi flew out from the immeasurable devil steel. Just like that, devil chi would fly out from the immeasurable devil steel every few days. After refining this devil chi, Xian Yanqing's cultivation rose by leaps and bounds. Originally, Xian Yanqing's cultivation was only at the early 7th layer of the Divine Master Realm. As he continued to refine the devil chi, his cultivation rose rapidly. In just a month, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had reached the mid-7th layer of the Divine Master Realm. The speed was shocking. At this rate, as long as there was sufficient devil qi, Xian Yanqing would be able to cultivate to the 8th layer of the Divine Master Realm. The Bone Devil was still merging with the devil qi. This pitch-black skeleton was clearly extraordinary. No one knew how strong it had been when it was alive. Hence, the speed of merging with the Bone Devil was extremely slow. 1 month's time wasn't enough. As for the immeasurable devil souls around the immeasurable devil steel, they were roaming around randomly. They didn't dare to approach the immeasurable devil steel. This made Lu Ming feel relieved. He split a portion of his attention to observe the surroundings while comprehending the battle symbol formula and other secret arts. He didn't want to waste any time. Time flew by and another 2 months went by. Suddenly Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He opened his eyes and looked into the distance. Several figures appeared in the distance. They were the heavenly human race's experts. The heavenly human race's experts were standing in the distance, looking at the immeasurable devil steel. They had clearly seen Lu Ming's group. Then the 3 of them whispered to each other. One of them left in a hurry, while the other 2 stayed behind to guard the area. It seems like they went to look for help. Lu Ming pondered. Should he take the opportunity to leave? Lu Ming hesitated. In the end, Lu Ming decided to stay. The immeasurable devil souls surrounded the immeasurable devil steel. According to Xian Yanqing, the closer the immeasurable devil souls were to the immeasurable devil steel, the stronger they would be. The immeasurable devil souls in the vicinity were all powerful existences. Even if the heavenly human race's experts came, they wouldn't be able to rush in. Sure enough, several experts from the heavenly human race rushed over. There were more than 20 of them. Even the weakest of them was a 9th-level divine master. There were more than a dozen of them, and there were even a dozen of them who were peak divine masters. Immeasurable devil steel, the devil steel of the immeasurable devil souls. The Lord of Extermination. Lu Ming's of the immortal of his face, he saw an acquaintance, one of the 4 strongest heaven monarchs of the Heaven Palace, the Extermination Heaven Monarch. Lord Huang heavenly human, of the god of devil immortal Huang, Lords of the immeasurable him. The Lord of Extermination was definitely in existence standing at the peak of the Divine Master Realm. He was definitely stronger than the devil steel of the immeasurable devil souls. Ordinary lords of heaven wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. This time, the Heavenly Palace had actually sent their strongest Lord of Heaven. They wanted to kill Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing are inside, but there are too many immeasurable devil souls. What should we do? Someone asked the Lord of Heaven. The Lord of Heaven stood in the middle looking at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. His face was gloomy. There are too many immeasurable devil souls here. There are more than 10,000 of them, and the closer they are to the devil steel, the stronger they are. With our strength, only death awaits us if we rush in. The Lord of Heaven said. In order to deal with the immeasurable devil souls, they had brought some treasures from the heavenly palace that could restrain the immeasurable devil souls. However, there were too many immeasurable devil souls here. Even if they had treasures that could restrain the immeasurable devil souls, it was useless. Then what should we do? The person from before asked. They will come out sooner or later. Let's just stay here and wait for them to come out. It won't be too late for us to take action after they come out. The Lord of Heaven said. The others nodded. Then they scattered and hid themselves well, blocking the exit. Indeed, they don't dare to take action? Lu Ming muttered. Lu Ming was aware of the movements of the Heavenly Palace's experts. This wasn't out of Lu Ming's expectations. He had long expected that these heavenly humans wouldn't dare to take action and would stay outside. Now we just have to wait for the Bone Demon. I hope that the Bone Demon's combat strength will skyrocket after fusing with the Black Bone. When the time comes we can fight our way out. Lu Ming thought. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, a few years had passed. The Bone Demon was still fusing with the Black Bone. However, after a few years the Bone Demon seemed to have reached the final juncture. The Black Bone had shrunk several times, shrinking to the size of an ordinary person. However, the bone seemed to have become more condensed, and it seemed to contain an extremely dense devil qi. The aura emanating from the bone was almost entirely the Bone Demon's aura. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before the Bone Demon successfully fused with the Black Bone. After a few years of cultivation, Xian Yanqing's cultivation had also improved greatly. She had reached the peak of the 7th-tier Divine Master Realm. She wasn't far from the 8th-tier Divine Master Realm. Boom. Suddenly, a powerful aura emanated from Xian Yanqing's body. The devil qi on her body flourished. Then an illusory figure emerged from Xian Yanqing's body. What a powerful aura. That woman seems to have been absorbing the devil chi to cultivate and increase her cultivation these past few years. A heavenly human expert exclaimed, revealing a look of envy and jealousy. Even if she reaches the peak of the Divine Master Realm, she's still no match for me. The Extermination Lord of Heaven coldly snorted, her killing intent chilling. Also, from the 9th tier Divine Master Realm to the peak of the Divine Master Realm, one can't rely on absorbing energy. One needs to slowly condense their origin energy. By the time she reaches the peak of the Divine Master Realm, the Heaven Destroyer will have been destroyed. At that time, the few of them left will not be able to escape death. The Extermination Lord of Heaven coldly sneered. At this moment, Lu Ming completely ignored the people of the Heavenly Palace. His gaze was completely focused on the illusory figure on Xian Yanqing's body. Lu Ming had seen this illusory figure before. In the past, when Xian Yanqing pushed her fighting strength to the limit, this illusory figure would also appear on her body. This illusory figure was clearly that of a woman. Her figure was graceful and alluring, but it was a pity that her face was shrouded in a layer of devil chi, making it impossible to see her face clearly. In the past, Lu Ming had thought that this illusory figure could be Xian Yanqing's previous incarnation. Later, Lu Ming thought that this illusory figure could be related to Fei Huang. After all, Fei Huang was Xian Yanqing's master. But now it seemed like neither of them were related. It didn't look like her at all. But right at this time, a shocking scene occurred. The immeasurable devil steel started to tremble violently. The carvings on the steel emitted a dazzling light as if they had come to life. Bus, bus, bus. The immeasurable devil steel's trembling became more and more violent. Dense devil chi spread out from the steel, forming a pillar of devil chi that shot into the sky. Lu Ming wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded by this scene. The Heavenly Palace's experts in the distance were also dumbfounded. They had no idea what was going on. At this time, Xian Yanqing also stopped cultivating and looked at the immeasurable devil steel in shock. Chapter 47-29. Is this strange phenomenon related to Shaoqing? Lu Ming couldn't help but wonder. When Xian Yanqing's shadow had appeared, the immeasurable devil steel had started to tremble. The timing was too coincidental, and it seemed to have been caused by the shadow. However, Xian Yanqing had ended his cultivation, and the shadow around him had disappeared. Even so, the immeasurable devil steel was still trembling. What's going on? Why did the immeasurable devil steel start to tremble when I was cultivating? The bone devil was also alarmed, and he exclaimed in shock after ending the fusion. The soul flames in his eyes flickered, and it was clear that he didn't know what was going on. The immeasurable devil steel started to tremble more violently, and it eventually left the ground and flew high into the sky. The immeasurable devil souls in the surroundings let out ear-piercing shrieks as they roamed around restlessly. However, they didn't dare to get close to the immeasurable devil steel. The immeasurable devil steel started to shrink rapidly. It had originally been tens of thousands of zhang tall, but it quickly shrank to the size of a palm. Next, it transformed into a beam of light as it charged towards Xian Yanqing. It was simply too fast. Xian Yanqing wanted to dodge, but found that he was simply incapable of doing so. The immeasurable devil steel charged into Xian Yanqing's forehead and disappeared. Xian Yanqing seemed to have sensed something and he sat down cross-legged. Boom! Xian Yanqing's aura soared, and the shadow around him appeared once again. Xian Yanqing was breaking through to the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm. In a few breaths' time, Xian Yanqing had successfully broken through the bottleneck, and his cultivation had reached the 8th level of the Divine Master Realm. However, it didn't stop there. His aura was still rising rapidly. Early 8th level of the Divine Master Realm, mid-8th level of the Divine Master Realm, Lu Ming, the Bone Devil, and the Heavenly Palace's experts were dumbfounded. The immeasurable devil souls let out ear-piercing shrieks as they charged towards Lu Ming, the Bone Devil, and Xian Yanqing from all directions. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. With so many immeasurable devil souls charging at them, only death was waiting for them. Bone Demon, do you have any ideas? Lu Ming shouted. No, run. Bone roared. Lu Ming was helpless. Just as he was about to put Xian Yanqing into his desolate ring and go all out, a powerful aura suddenly erupted from Xian Yanqing's body. This aura spread out in all directions like water ripples. This was the immeasurable devil steel's aura. The immeasurable devil souls stopped in their tracks, not daring to charge forward. Then tens of thousands of endless demonic souls screamed in place, roaming about as if they were extremely anxious. A moment later, tens of thousands of demonic souls scattered in all directions. In the past, they had gathered here because of the immeasurable devil steel. Now that the immeasurable devil steel had disappeared, they were running around in all directions. Not good. Retreat. Let's go. This time the masters of the heavenly palace were scared to death. A large number of immeasurable devil souls were charging at them, and they had already discovered them. The immeasurable devil souls shrieked, and a large number of them charged at the masters of the heavenly palace. Go. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination roared, and he retreated rapidly. More than 20 heavenly human race experts disappeared in the blink of an eye, not daring to linger. Lu Ming was a little stunned. He hadn't expected the crisis to be resolved so easily. Xian Yinqing's aura was still rising. Late 8th level God Master Realm, peak 8th level God Master Realm. Boom. In less than a minute, Xian Yinqing's aura reached the 9th level of the God Master Realm. After reaching the 9th level of the God Master Realm, Xian Yinqing's aura finally stabilized. His powerful aura also retracted. Xian Yinqing opened his eyes. Little Qing, how are you? Lu Ming asked with concern. I'm fine. Xian Yinqing smiled. He felt good after breaking through 2 levels of cultivation. Little Qing, what's going on with the immeasurable devil steel? Lu Ming asked. I don't know why the immeasurable devil steel suddenly flew into my body, but I feel that the immeasurable devil steel has already recognized me as its master. I can control it now, and I can comprehend some of the mysteries of the devil path from it at all times. Xian Yinqing explained. Opportunity, what a great opportunity. The immeasurable devil steel is definitely one of the most precious treasures of the previous era. You actually managed to get your hands on it? This old devil is truly envious, jealous, and hateful. Ah! The bone devil shouted. The soul flames in his eye sockets flickered incessantly, revealing a look of intense jealousy. He was a great devil, and he could naturally sense how extraordinary the immeasurable devil steel was. To those who cultivated the devil path, it was definitely a supreme treasure. Bone devil, didn't you obtain a great opportunity as well? How's the fusion with the skeleton coming along? Lu Ming changed the topic. It's almost done. It's a pity that I don't dare to break through due to the origin tribulation. Otherwise I could use this opportunity to break through to the origin realm. Bone devil sighed. Although you didn't break through, your battle strength should have increased by a lot, right? Lu Ming asked. Of course. Kid, I can suppress you with a single finger. Do you see that? My body is invulnerable. Even an origin-grade divine weapon can't hurt me. Haha, I'm invincible in the divine master realm. Bone devil roared with laughter. Invincible in the divine master realm? Keep bragging. If Yi Immortal and Yi Qiuxin break through to the divine master realm, can you deal with them? Lu Ming probed. Cough cough, that kind of freak is another matter. However, I don't care about the so-called strongest person in the heavenly palace, the Lord of Heaven. Bone devil said confidently. Is that so? Alright, let's go. We're leaving this place. Lu Ming said. He was quite happy inside. If Bone Devil was not bragging, then Bone Devil was equivalent to a strongest Lord of Heaven at the very least. Under the influence of the origin tribulation, divine masters were at the peak of the origin realm. A strongest Lord of Heaven could sometimes have a great impact on the battlefield. Moreover, Xian Yinqing had also reached the 9th layer of the divine master realm. Xian Yinqing was extremely powerful in the first place. As a 9th layer divine master, Xian Yinqing was definitely not an ordinary Lord of Heaven's opponent. Even if she was not as strong as a strongest Lord of Heaven, she should not be weaker than a peak Lord of Heaven. With Lu Ming's current battle strength, he was definitely not Xian Yinqing's opponent. Even if they ran into the exterminating Lord of Heaven and the others, they had nothing to fear. Even if they were outnumbered, charging out should not be a problem. In a flicker, the 3 of them flew back the way they came. With Xian Yinqing in control of the immeasurable devil steel, they had no need to fear the immeasurable devil soul. Hence, their speed was extremely fast. In a dozen minutes, they had covered a very long distance. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, they heard a violent explosion in front of them as well as a long whistle. It's the Heavenly Palace's people. It seems like the Heavenly Palace's people are fighting with the immeasurable devil soul. Bone Devil said. Let's go and take a look. If there's a chance, Lu Ming said. A cold light flickered in his eyes. This was a good opportunity. If there was a chance, Lu Ming did not mind taking action and eliminating the Heavenly Palace's experts. More than a dozen peak divine masters and a dozen 9th layer divine masters. It was not a small loss for the Heavenly Palace. Chapter 4730. Currently, the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer were at war. The Heaven Destroyer's base was in a precarious situation. Eliminating a portion of the Heavenly Palace's forces would be a great help to the Heaven Destroyer. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was just about to test my strength. Bone Devil grinned. Of course, it only revealed a row of black teeth. Kill? Xian Yinqing was even more decisive. He charged in the direction of the sound. Soon they arrived at the scene of the battle. As expected, it was the Heavenly Palace's people fighting with the immeasurable devil souls. At this time, the 20 or so Heavenly Palace's experts were surrounded by a large group of immeasurable devil souls. However, some of the Heavenly Palace's experts took out a few round beads. There were 7 round beads in total. These beads emitted a dazzling radiance, and a strange energy permeated the air. This energy vibrated in a unique way. Whenever the immeasurable devil souls rushed over, they would be sent flying. It seemed like these 7 round beads were specially made to restrain the immeasurable devil souls. However, there were too many immeasurable devil souls. Moreover, these immeasurable devil souls were the ones who had approached the immeasurable devil steel. They were extremely powerful. Although they were sent flying by the strange energy fluctuations, they were not destroyed. The Heavenly Palace's experts wanted to break out of the encirclement, but they couldn't do it in a short time. As long as we break those 7 round beads, the Heavenly Palace's experts will die. Lu Ming said. That's easy. Wait for me here. Bone Devil said. After saying that, he turned into a streak of black lightning and disappeared. A moment later, Bone Devil returned. The only difference was that his body was shrouded in a layer of devil chi. It was obvious that Bone Devil had killed an immeasurable devil soul and used the other party's devil chi to disguise himself as one of the immeasurable devil souls. Watch me. Bone Devil directly charged towards the Heavenly Palace's experts and the immeasurable devil souls. Those immeasurable devil souls treated Bone Devil as one of their own and did not attack him. Bone Devil's speed was extremely fast. He charged past the immeasurable devil souls in an instant and charged towards one of the round beads. It's him. It's the skeleton beside Lu Ming. Stop him. The people of the Heavenly Palace naturally recognized Bone Demon. Several Lord of Heaven immediately attacked Guemo. Several terrifying attacks were launched at Guemo. However, Guemo didn't care about these attacks at all. He didn't have any intention of blocking them and allowed the attacks to land on his body. Clang, clang, clang. 3 sounds of metal clashing rang out, but Guemo was completely fine. The 3 attacks did not leave a single mark on his body. He rushed past them without stopping and arrived in front of one of the beads. His pitch-black palm bone slashed at the bead like a demonic blade. Bang! The bead immediately exploded. Of the 7 beads there were still 6 left. After shattering this bead, the Bone Demon quickly rushed to the next bead. With another palm strike, the second bead exploded. The Bone Demon's speed was simply too fast. In the blink of an eye, it had shattered 2 of the beads. Many heavenly humans finally reacted. Damn it, damn skeleton, blast him to pieces. Kill. More than 20 heavenly humans were enraged. They unleashed all their strength and attacked Guemo. These beads were their life-saving treasures. If all of them were destroyed, they would lose their treasures that could suppress the infinite demonic soul. Only death awaited them. Therefore they attacked with all their might. Break. The Bone Demon's soul fluctuated. His hands were like demonic blades as they slashed out continuously, breaking the attacks one by one. Even if some of the attacks landed on Guemo, he only staggered a little. It was as if nothing had happened. He broke through the attacks and arrived in front of the 3rd bead. With a palm strike he shattered the bead. There were still 4 beads left. The Bone Demon rushed to the 4th bead. You're courting death. With a roar, a sharp sword light slashed at the Bone Demon. The sword chi whistled and filled the air with terrifying fluctuations. The soul fire in the Bone Demon's eye sockets flickered. The sword made him feel a sense of danger. Source-level weapon. A thought flashed through the Bone Demon's mind. He didn't need to look to know that this was an attack from a source-level weapon. He grabbed at the air and a golden spear appeared in his hand. The spear swept out horizontally. Clang. The spear and the sword light collided with a deafening boom. A terrifying force spread out in all directions. Buff, buff. 2 9th-tier divine masters of the Heavenly Palace couldn't dodge in time. They were struck by the scattered force and died on the spot. Then the 2 figures floated backward. One was the Bone Demon, and the other was the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The one who had attacked just now was the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The battle sword in his hand was an source-level weapon. The weapon of my Heavenly Palace. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination said coldly as he looked coldly at the golden battle spear in the Bone Demon's hand. Soon the battle sword in your hand will be mine. The bone demon's soul fluctuated and produced a voice. The golden battle spear in his hand was indeed obtained from the heavenly human tribe expert. In the world of light. Today I will make you pay with your life. Not just anyone can use the weapon of my heavenly human tribe. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination said coldly. His body exuded a powerful aura as he pushed his fighting strength to the limit. He stepped forward and charged at the bone demon. The bone demon was fearless. He waved his battle spear and met the attack. Clang, clang. The two moved with astonishing speed. After exchanging several dozen blows, the victor was still undecided. The bone demon is indeed much stronger than before. In the past, he would never have been able to match the Lord of Heaven of Extermination, but in terms of strength, the two seem to be on par. Lu Ming muttered. If this battle drags on, the bone demon will win. Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded. That was indeed the case. The bone demon had fused with a pitch-black skeleton. His body was indestructible and his demonic qi was extremely dense. Although the offensive strength of the two was about the same, the bone demon was superior in other aspects. In the short term the two might be on par, but in the long term the bone demon would win. After exchanging several dozen blows, the bone demon ignored his defense and took a blow from his opponent. Then he threw out his spear and swept it at the Lord of Heaven of Extermination. The Lord of Heaven of Extermination coughed up blood and retreated. His body almost exploded and his face was pale. Bam! Bam! Taking advantage of this opportunity, the bone demon stabbed out twice with his spear and shattered 2 more round pearls. Now there were only 2 round pearls left in the heavenly palace. The immeasurable demonic souls screamed and rushed toward the experts of the heavenly palace. With only 2 round pearls left, it was impossible to protect all sides. There would always be openings. Many immeasurable demonic souls rushed in and attacked the experts of the heavenly palace. The experts of the heavenly palace could only fight back. However, ordinary attacks were ineffective against these immeasurable demonic souls. These immeasurable demonic souls were very powerful. Suddenly, many 9th-tier divine master heavenly humans screamed. Their faces became ferocious and their eyes turned blood red. They were completely filled with negative emotions. Kill, kill, kill. Several celestial beings roared and they actually attacked their own people. Chapter 47:31. Puff puff, blood splattered everywhere. Several heavenly human tribe members were killed by their own people. They have been controlled by the inner demon and have completely fallen. Kill them. The Lord of Heaven of Annihilation shouted. Several Lord of Heaven of Annihilation attacked and killed the heavenly human tribe members who had fallen into madness. However, more immeasurable demonic souls rushed over and they couldn't kill them all. Some of the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation were also affected by the immeasurable demonic souls. The negative emotions in their hearts kept erupting. As for the bone devil, it set its sights on the remaining 2 beads and charged towards them. Let's work together and stop him. The Lord of Heaven of Annihilation shouted as he waved his origin divine weapon and attacked Guemo. At the same time, the other Lord of Heaven of Annihilation also attacked Guemo. Among them, the Lord of Heaven of Silver Armor was also very powerful. He was a top Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. He was second only to the 4 strongest Lord of Heaven. He also wielded a source-grade divine weapon, a silver spear. Guemo waved his spear and blocked the attacks of the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation. He staggered and retreated. However, as soon as Guemo retreated, he attacked the other party again. Although Guemo's defense was strong, his explosive attack was about the same as the Lord of Heaven of Annihilation. The other party's experts worked together and blocked Guemo's attack. They also knew Guemo's weakness, which was his eye sockets. That was where Guemo's soul was. Guemo's body was indestructible, but his soul was his weakness. In this way, Guemo had to focus on defense and couldn't break through the other party's defense. However, the other party only had 2 beads left and their defense was insufficient. Immeasurable demonic souls kept rushing in and many heavenly human tribe members were affected. Some heavenly human tribe members were completely controlled by the inner demon. The other heavenly human tribe members could only attack and kill them. After being controlled by the inner demon, they had become killing puppets. Otherwise they would turn around and kill their own people. Lu Ming, let's attack too. Xian Yanqing whispered. Go around and exterminate the Lord of Heaven and the others. Lu Ming said. The 2 of them quietly took a detour. The people of the heavenly human tribe were fighting with all their might, so how could they still notice Lu Ming and the other person? When they circled behind the Lord of Heaven and the others, the 2 of them charged toward the battlefield. Those boundless devil souls had discovered the two of them, and they were about to pounce on them. However, Xianyanqing controlled the boundless devil steel and released a wisp of aura that deterred those boundless devil souls from approaching. The two of them successfully passed through the infinite demonic souls and arrived behind the Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming died. The people of the heavenly palace naturally discovered Lu Ming and the other person. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared and stabbed his silver spear at Lu Ming. However, Xianyanqing made his move. He took out his source-grade divine weapon and clashed with the silver spear. A loud explosion resounded as the silver-armored man's attack was blocked. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was shocked as he stared at Xianyanqing. When they exchanged blows, he felt that Xianyanqing's strength was shockingly strong. It seemed that Xianyanqing wasn't any weaker than him. Heavenly Demon Domain. Xianyanqing pressed his palm down and the Heavenly Demon Domain enveloped the battlefield. Black lotus flowers appeared and turned into sword chi that filled the sky. They attacked the people of the Heavenly Palace. At the same time, Lu Ming also made his move. He rushed towards the experts of the Heavenly Human Tribe. As he rushed out, Qiuqiu turned into a mirror and a light shield that enveloped the people of the Heavenly Human Tribe. Those with weaker strength were immediately affected by the illusion and their movements paused for a moment. Guimo wouldn't miss this opportunity. He stabbed out with his spear and killed the two Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming, on the other hand, became one with his spear and used the sky-breaking style. He rushed out and stabbed at the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Unfortunately, the Lord of Heaven reacted too quickly. He was almost unaffected by Qiuqiu's illusion. He slashed his sword at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked and could only retreat quickly to avoid the sword. There was still a huge gap between his current strength and Extermination Heaven Lords. "Your opponent is me," Guimo shouted coldly. His spear was like a golden bolt of lightning as it stabbed at the Lord of Heaven. The Lord of Heaven had no choice but to fight with Guimo with all his strength. Meanwhile, Xianyanqing was entangled with the silver-armored Lord of Heaven. Swoosh! Lu Ming changed his direction and rushed towards one of the beads. "Get lost!" Several Lord of Heaven roared and attacked Lu Ming together. However, Lu Ming was fearless. He waved his war god spear and blocked 2 attacks. As for the other 2 attacks, Lu Ming didn't care. He let them hit his body because Qiuqiu had turned into armor and covered his body. With Qiuqiu's defense, Lu Ming blocked the 2 attacks. He rushed past them and stabbed his war god spear twice in a row. This time, Lu Ming activated the power of origin. The power of origin exploded in the war god spear, activating a trace of the war god spear's power and greatly increasing Lu Ming's attack power. 2 of the Lord of Heaven's experts tried their best to defend against Huang Xiaolong's attack, but they failed. Their bodies shook violently as they staggered back, coughing up blood. One of them had a hole in his body and he was almost killed. After injuring the 2 Lord of Heaven, Lu Ming didn't stop there. The war god's spear swept out horizontally. Bang! One of the beads was directly blasted apart. With only 1 bead left, the 7 moons bead's area of defense became smaller. A large number of immeasurable devil souls rushed towards the Heavenly Palace's experts. Xianyanqing sent a wisp of energy into Lu Ming's body that contained the immeasurable devil steel's aura. The immeasurable devil souls avoided him on purpose. More heavenly humans were attacked by the immeasurable devil souls. When the immeasurable devil souls rushed past their bodies, terrifying and strange energy erupted, triggering the negative emotions in their hearts. Kill, kill, kill. I'm number 1 under the heavens. Number 1 under the heavens, my ass. I'm the invincible one under the heavens. Those who go against me must die. Kill. I want to become the origin. I want to live forever. The heavenly humans' negative emotions erupted as they fell into their heart demons. Their eyes were bloodshot and their expressions were hideous. As the immeasurable devil souls continued to attack, their heart demons grew stronger. By this time, the 9th level god masters were already dead. The remaining experts on the Lord of Heaven's level couldn't resist the influence of their heart demons, and they slowly fell into madness. Regardless of who it was, there were negative emotions in their hearts. Even the Buddha race's top experts couldn't ignore everything. Once they fell into their heart demons, it was extremely terrifying. In the end, these heavenly humans started to kill each other. Lu Ming retreated in time to avoid being implicated. Charge out! The exterminating Lord of Heaven roared. After exchanging a move with the Bone Devil, both of them retreated. Then, he controlled the last bead and led the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and 2 other Lord of Heaven in a mad dash in a certain direction. Stay. The Bone Devil wouldn't let them leave so easily. He charged forward. Die for me. One of the Lord of Heaven revealed a crazed expression as he charged at the Bone Devil. As he charged, his body emitted a dazzling light. He wanted to self-detonate. Chapter 47:32. Be careful. Lu Ming roared to warn Bone Demon. At the same time, he quickly retreated to Xian Yanqing's side, wanting to put Xian Yanqing into the chaos ring. You want to self-destruct in front of me? Dream on. Bone Demon shouted coldly. Instead of retreating, he rushed towards the other party, completely ignoring the other party's attack. In an instant, he rushed into the other party's arms. His palm was like a knife, stabbing into the other party's dantian, directly crushing the other party's universe bridge. Then the other hand chopped down, splitting the Lord of Heaven into two halves, completely killing him. However, this heavenly monarch had also obstructed the Bone Demon for a short while, giving the extermination heavenly monarch an opportunity. He was very decisive and directly threw the last round bead in a direction. Explode. The Lord of Heaven the extermination shouted softly, and the round bead exploded with a boom. The round bead exploded, forming a shock wave of energy. Everywhere it passed, a large number of infinite demonic souls were destroyed, and a path was forcibly opened in the crowd of infinite demonic souls. Whoosh, whoosh. The Lord of Heaven the extermination, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, and the other Lord of Heaven, the three of them quickly rushed towards the path. Stay. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing attacked. Xian Yanqing performed the heavenly demon territory, enveloping the three Lord of Heaven in it. On the other hand, Lu Ming performed the primeval style and condensed a piece of land to suppress the trio. Their attacks were mainly to delay. They wanted to delay the three of them, waiting for Bone Demon or infinite demonic souls to rush over. Break. The three Lord of Heaven roared and attacked together. Among them, the Lord of Heaven the extermination and the silver-armored Lord of Heaven were too strong. Both of them controlled source-level divine weapons. With a blow, they directly tore apart the Chaos Continent and the Heavenly Demon territory and continued to escape. However, at the critical moment, Qiuqiu shot out a beam of light that enveloped the three of them. Qiuqiu was now at the 8th level of the God Lord realm, and the illusory energy contained in the Pillar of Light was extremely powerful. Of the three of them, only the exterminating Lord of Heaven was completely unaffected and could instantly break free. The other two would also be affected. Although the silver-armored Lord of Heaven would only be slightly affected, he would be able to quickly break free. However, this slight influence was already enough. Because the Bone Devil had arrived. Boom. Lu Ming activated the golden spear, causing it to become incomparably huge. It pressed down on the silver-armored Lord of Heaven and the other Lord of Heaven. However, the exterminating Lord of Heaven was too fast and had already escaped the attack range. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared as he broke free from the illusion. He channeled all of his strength into the silver spear and placed it in front of him, trying to block the Bone Demon's attack. Clang. The two source-level divine weapons collided with each other, creating a powerful shockwave that bent the silver spear. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven's body shook violently as he retreated, spitting out blood. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven was clearly no match for the Bone Demon and had been heavily injured in one blow. The Bone Demon's attacks continued, sweeping through the enemy like a storm. Meanwhile, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing charged at the other Lord of Heaven. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing working together to deal with an ordinary Lord of Heaven was far too easy. In just one blow, their opponent had been heavily injured. This Lord of Heaven howled, his face savage as his body erupted with dazzling light. He was actually trying to self-detonate again. However, self-detonation required some time. How could Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing give him that time? Xian Yanqing used the heavenly demon domain to tightly seal him, while Lu Ming used the heaven-breaking style to pierce through his forehead, killing him completely. On the other side, the silver-armored Lord of Heaven was no match for the Bone Demon at all. He was completely suppressed. The bones in his arms were broken, and he almost lost his grip on his spear. Annihilation, come and help me. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven roared, wanting to call the Lord of Heaven to help him. However, the Lord of Heaven did not even look back as he hurried away. He had finally broken out of the immeasurable demonic soul's encirclement. How could he let himself fall into danger again? Moreover, the Bone Demon was too strong. If he returned to save the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, he might very well die. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Our people will avenge you. The Lord of Heaven's voice rang out as he left without looking back. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven let out a desperate roar. He could only fight with his life on the line. However, there was a big gap between his strength and the Bone Demon's. In addition, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming immediately came to help the Bone Demon. The silver-armored Lord of Heaven's fate was already sealed. He could not even perish together with the Bone Demon. After a few moves, the Bone Demon's golden spear pierced through his head. After killing the silver-armored Lord of Heaven, the Bone Demon reached out and grabbed the silver spear in his hand. Unfortunately, that guy ran away. The Bone Demon sighed and looked in the direction the Lord of Heaven had escaped. The other party had already broken out of the immeasurable demonic soul's encirclement. It was impossible to catch up to him. Lu Ming also felt that it was a pity. That was the strongest Lord of Heaven. If they could kill him, it would be a huge loss to the Heavenly Palace. Lu Ming, this silver spear? The Bone Demon stared at the silver spear in his hand and dragged out his words. How could Lu Ming not understand the Bone Demon's meaning? He smiled and said, "This time, it's all thanks to you that Shao Qing was able to obtain the immeasurable Devil's Steel. We were able to kill so many experts of the Heavenly Palace. This source-grade divine weapon naturally belongs to you." "Haha, then I won't stand on ceremony." The Bone Demon laughed and said, "Lu Ming, can I use these two source-grade divine weapons to exchange for one of the Heavenly Court's divine weapons?" The soul fire in the Bone Demon's eyes flickered as he spoke. It was obvious that he was embarrassed. His two source-grade divine weapons were just ordinary source-grade divine weapons. They couldn't be compared to the Heavenly Court's divine weapons in Lu Ming's possession. That was a top-grade divine weapon. However, he really coveted the Heavenly Court's divine weapons in Lu Ming's possession. He could only thicken his skin and ask. Of course. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. He wasn't stupid. He knew the value of a Heavenly Court's divine weapon far exceeded two ordinary source-grade divine weapons. However, he didn't lose out by exchanging it with the Bone Demon. The Bone Demon was his follower. If the Bone Demon had a Heavenly Court's divine weapon, his strength would increase. Wouldn't that be more beneficial to him? In fact, even if the Bone Demon hadn't said anything, Huang Xiaolong wanted to give him a Heavenly Court's divine weapon so that he could unleash his full strength. The Bone Demon's words were exactly what Lu Ming wanted. Hearing Lu Ming's straightforward answer, the Bone Demon was overjoyed. His soul fire flickered as he said, "Ha, Lu Ming, I didn't misjudge you. You're really loyal. Bone Demon, which divine weapon do you want? Other than the War God Spear, you can choose anything else." Lu Ming said, "I want that violet gold battle axe. It's simple and powerful in battle." The Bone Demon said. Lu Ming's mind moved and the violet gold battle axe appeared in his hand. He handed it to the Bone Demon without hesitation. The Bone Demon received it and couldn't bear to part with it. Then he handed the golden and silver spear to Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, I'll enter your chaos ring first and refine the violet gold battle axe. You guys should leave quickly. That Lord of Heaven has escaped. The Heavenly Palace will know soon," the Bone Demon said. Chapter 47:33. Guillemot entered the primordial ring and began to refine the violet gold war battle axe. Guillemot was only a peak almighty right now, so his origin energy was limited. After obtaining the source-grade weapon, he needed to refine it before he could use it. This was different from reciprocity experts. Reciprocity experts basically did not need to refine their source-grade weapons to unleash great power. This was also the reason why Lu Ming had lent the source-grade weapons to Heaven Destroyer's reciprocity experts and not to peak almighty experts. This was because almighty experts could not use the source-grade weapons immediately. They needed time to refine them before they could unleash some of their power, so lending them out was useless. Of course, if reciprocity experts took the time to refine the source-grade weapons, it would be easier for them to use them and their power would be greater. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left the boundless demonic abyss and the continent. "Lu Ming, where are you going next?" Xian Yanqing asked. "Mid-Autumn Moon, Dandan, Bubble, and the others are all cultivating in seclusion. Since the people of the Heavenly Palace can find you, I'm afraid they can find the others as well. I want to bring the others out." Lu Ming said. "That's right. If the people of the Heavenly Palace find us, it'll be extremely dangerous. This time, it's all thanks to the arrangements left behind by Master Fei Huang. However, do you know where they are?" Xian Yanqing asked. "When the Origin Tribulation descended, Fei Huang once drew a map of all your seclusion locations and gave it to me. She was probably afraid of encountering a situation like this." Lu Ming said. He then took out the jade token that Fei Huang had given him and looked at it. The jade tablet recorded the specific locations where Dandan and the others were cultivating in seclusion during Autumn Moon. "The closest place to here is the Sea of Yuanshin where Autumn Moon is. Let's go to the Sea of Yuanshin first and bring Chiu Autumn Moon out," Lu Ming said. Then the two of them turned into two streaks of light and left, heading towards the Sea of Yuanshin. The void of the universe ruins was also filled with danger. However, the two of them were more experienced and lucky. They did not encounter any danger along the way. However, the continents they passed by along the way surprised them quite a lot. Especially Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming had seen a lot of them before. Xian Yanqing. Most of the continents in the ruins of the universe were deathly still. Aside from some terrifying insects, there were no plants or other life forms on the continents. But now, plants had sprouted on many continents. Flowers were blooming and plants were flourishing. Huge trees were spread across the continents, and they were lush and full of vitality. The continent was filled with exuberant energy and life essence. How was this still deathly still? It had clearly become a holy land for cultivation. Although these continent fragments hadn't given birth to living beings yet, it was only a matter of time before they did. The heaven and earth have really changed. The profound laws of the universe ruins have become orderly. Everywhere is filled with vitality. Everywhere can be a cultivation paradise. Xian Yanqing exclaimed. Yes, there are many places in the universe ruins. Although they are not of much help to the Divine Master Realm or above, they are very beneficial to the cultivation of those below the Divine Master Realm. The lower the cultivation, the greater the effect. I can imagine that after a long period of time, it's not impossible for some main-level divine medicines to be born. Lu Ming said. Is the entire universe going to usher in a golden age of cultivation and return to the primeval continent of the last era? Xian Yanqing exclaimed. It was very likely according to the current trend. So, we can't let the heavenly human race monopolize these infinite resources. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded solemnly. Indeed, the universe ruins had undergone a great change and would usher in an unprecedented era. If the Heaven Destroyer could survive this disaster, then occupy a part of the universe ruins and cultivate its descendants, it would become stronger and stronger in the future. It might be able to compete with the Heavenly Palace. We've arrived at the Sea of Yuanxin. Suddenly, Lu Ming whispered with a hint of joy. They were about to see the autumn moon. You're so happy to see the autumn moon? Are you not happy to see me? Xian Yanqing glanced at Lu Ming and said. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He quickly smiled and said, How could that be? I don't know how happy I am to see you, Xiaoqing. When I knew that you might be in danger, the first person I thought of was you. Lu Ming said affectionately as he held Xian Yanqing's small hand. Fool, I'm joking with you. Xian Yanqing burst into laughter. She was so charming that Lu Ming was mesmerized by her. Xiaoqing, you're so beautiful. I can't get enough of you even if I look at you for the rest of my life. Lu Ming said. Glib Tung Ling Yue Huang Ling Mulans and the others, is this how you captured their hearts? Xian Yanqing said coldly. Lu Ming wished he could slap himself. Why did he have such a cheap mouth? Xiaoqing, let's go pick up the autumn moon. Lu Ming quickly changed the topic and flew forward. In the void in front of them, there was an ocean floating. This ocean was very large, even larger than a fragment of a continent. The seawater was not ordinary seawater. It actually had 9 colors and was filled with dazzling multicolored light. It wasn't strange for an ocean to be floating in the universe ruins. There were many places with it, and it wasn't the first time Lu Ming had seen it. However, the seawater was actually 9 colors. This was definitely the first time he had seen it. The autumn moon's 9 orifices sacred heart also contains 9 colors. Could it be that this Sea of Yuanxin has something to do with the 9 orifices sacred heart? Lu Ming pondered. Perhaps it was really possible. Otherwise, Fei Huang wouldn't have sent the autumn moon here. Xian Yanqing followed behind Lu Ming and the two of them flew into the Sea of Yuanxin. After flying into the Sea of Yuanxin, they realized that the Sea of Yuanxin was really big. It was vast and boundless. Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to the autumn moon. However, he realized that it couldn't be sent out at all. With such a big Sea of Yuanxin, how can we find the autumn moon if the news can't be sent out? Lu Ming frowned. Lu Ming, the people from the Heavenly Palace shouldn't have discovered this place yet. Let's split up and search. Xian Yanqing suggested. Alright, let's split up and search. Once there's news, immediately send a message. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them flew in 2 different directions. They spread out their spiritual senses to search for the autumn moon. However, after searching for several hours, they didn't find anything. If the autumn moon is cultivating at the bottom of the sea, it's useless for me to search like this. Let's go into the sea and have a look. Lu Ming thought for a while. Then with a plop he dived into the sea. Suddenly Lu Ming felt a powerful force in the sea hitting him. This force was really similar to the power of the 9 orifices sacred heart of the autumn moon. However, although this force was strong, It wasn't difficult for Lu Ming to block it with his current cultivation. He had been searching in one direction in the sea. Chapter 47-34. There were no living creatures in the Sea of Yuan Xian. Apart from the 9-colored seawater, there was nothing else. Lu Ming searched for 7 days in a row but found nothing. Let's go out and see if Xiaoqing has found anything. Lu Ming rushed out of the sea. Because of the strong impact in the sea, the voice transmission jade talisman could not be transmitted in the sea. Soon after coming to the sea, Lu Ming received a message from Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming immediately flew in the direction of Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming flew at full speed and soon found Xian Yanqing. Xiaoqing, what did you find? Lu Ming asked. Let's go down and have a look. Xian Yanqing said. When the two entered the sea, Lu Ming's eyes immediately lit up. This was because the seawater here was different from the seawater he had explored before. There were many fish in the sea here. These fishes were also colorful, a riot of colors. Lu Ming looked carefully. There were 9 colors of these fish, which was similar to the sea. The point was that these fish were not living creatures but made of energy. However, they were very similar to real living creatures. Their eyes were very smart. When they saw Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, they were not afraid. They swam around the two of them and looked at them curiously. Amazing. They are not living creatures but they contain intelligence. Lu Ming sighed. There will be more and more of these fish as we move forward in this direction. Xian Yanqing said. Let's go and have a look. The two of them moved forward. Sure enough, the more colorful fish they moved forward, the more colorful fish there were. These fish were not aggressive at all. At most, they looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing curiously and swam away. The two of them kept moving forward. After a day, Lu Ming estimated that they were about to reach the central area of the Sea of Yuan Xian. At this time, the two of them made another discovery. They discovered that many plants had appeared in the seawater. These plants also had 9 different colors. At this point, the impact of the seawater was getting stronger and stronger. Just as the two of them were about to continue forward, the seawater in front of them suddenly began to ripple violently. It turned into a huge pillar of water that shot towards them. The two of them were shocked and quickly dodged. However, more and more water pillars appeared. In the end, they were densely packed together. Bang! Lu Ming was finally hit by a water pillar. The powerful force caused Lu Ming to continuously retreat. What a strong power. But there must be something strange about this place. Maybe the autumn moon is right in front of us. Break for me. Lu Ming took out the war god's spear and used the heaven-breaking stone to stab at one of the water pillars. With a loud bang, the water pillar was directly pierced and exploded. Xian Yanqing also made a move. He took out his source-grade divine weapon and destroyed several water pillars in succession. The two of them no longer dodged. Instead, they worked together to break through the water column and continued forward. Whoosh! Suddenly, the water pillars all disappeared. However, the water was still flowing rapidly. In the end, it actually gathered into a figure. It was a figure made of 9-colored seawater. It could be clearly seen that it was a woman. She was very beautiful and seemed to be around 30 years old. She stretched out her hand and instantly, endless seawater surged towards Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing wanted to dodge, but they discovered that their bodies were frozen by the 9-colored seawater. At this moment, the two of them turned pale with fright. However, no matter how they resisted, it was useless. The difference was too great. The surrounding seawater turned into 2 huge hands and grabbed Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. However, it only grabbed them and did not attack them further. What a strong power. It's impossible for a divine master to have such power. This is definitely the power of the Origin Realm. However, under the Origin Tribulation, Origin Realm existences would have to seal themselves and not dare to come out. How can there be an Origin Realm expert here? Lu Ming's mind raced. He found it hard to believe. The other party doesn't seem to be an Origin Realm existence. It's not a living being, Xian Yanqing said. After all, she was an Origin Realm existence in her previous life, so she could see something. Don't enter this place. The figure condensed from seawater actually spoke. Lu Ming was delighted. Since the other party could speak, there was room for negotiation. Moreover, the other party did not seem to want to kill them. Otherwise, with their strength, they would have been finished long ago. Senior, we're here to look for someone. Have you seen a young woman called Autumn Moon? She came here before. Lu Ming shouted. What's your relationship with her? The figure condensed from seawater asked. Lu Ming glanced at Xian Yanqing. He's Autumn Moon's husband. Xian Yanqing pointed at Lu Ming. Oh, so it's you. Autumn Moon did mention that you're looking for her. After the figure condensed from seawater finished speaking, Another figure condensed from seawater on the other side. Who else could it be but Autumn Moon? Yes, it's her. Lu Ming was overjoyed. You can leave. You can't see her now. She's receiving my inheritance. The figure condensed from seawater said. Huh. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were both stunned. Senior, you don't know. The people from the Heavenly Palace will probably find this place very soon. At that time, it will be unfavorable for Autumn Moon. If Autumn Moon continues to stay here, it will be very dangerous. Lu Ming called out. The Heavenly Palace? The figure condensed from seawater whispered. Then it asked, what kind of experts will the Heavenly Palace send here? As long as it's not above the Origin Realm, I can guarantee Autumn Moon's safety. Above the Origin Realm? How arrogant. This was Lu Ming's first reaction. Of course, it was only a thought that flashed through his mind. He did not dare to say it out loud. Senior, that won't happen. Now that the Origin Tribulation has descended, the existences of the Origin Realm have all sealed themselves. The strongest are peak Divine Masters. Lu Ming said. The Origin Tribulation has actually descended now? The sound of seawater condensing seemed to be very surprised. This surprised Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The person in front of them was definitely in existence of the Origin Realm or above. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. However, how could such a person not know about the Origin Tribulation? Was it not said that when the Origin Tribulation descended, no matter where in the entire universe, as long as one was at or above the Origin Realm, it would be difficult to avoid it? Senior, won't you be affected by the Origin Tribulation? Lu Ming asked. This was definitely a big matter. Now that the Origin Tribulation had been sealed, the strongest were Divine Masters. If the existences of the Origin Realm were not affected, would they not be able to sweep through the universe? I've already fallen. Naturally, I won't be affected by the Origin Tribulation. The figure condensed from seawater said. What? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were both shocked. The person in front of them had already fallen? Was the person speaking to them an imprint or brand left behind by him? Whatever. I'll tell you about me in detail. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave at ease. I'm the same as Autumn Moon. I once possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices. The figure condensed from seawater began to explain in detail. Chapter 47:35. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were shocked when they heard what the figure said. Did this person once possess the sacred heart of 9 orifices? As far as they knew, there were only 2 people who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices since the beginning of the primitive universe. Before the Mid-Autumn Moon, there was only one person. That person was a legend in the primitive universe. He had unparalleled talent, but he was a loner. He did not join any faction and cultivated alone. There were very few records of that person. They only knew that the person was at least at the Origin Realm in the end, but he suddenly disappeared and never appeared again. Therefore, there were not many records of the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the universe. Could the figure condensed from the sea be the legendary person? Or was this person from the previous era? However, as the person continued speaking, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing finally understood. It turned out that this person was really the one and only sacred heart of 9 orifices in the universe before the Mid-Autumn Moon. Her name was Zhongyu. It had to be said that Zhongyu was really an unparalleled genius with rare talent. She had the sacred heart of 9 orifices. Without anyone to guide her, she groped alone, referring to the experiences of cultivators with similar sacred hearts of 7 orifices or 5 orifices to find her own path. Her cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, crushing her peers. She stayed away from disputes and cultivated alone. When her cultivation reached the Divine Master Realm, she entered the ruins of the universe. She wanted to find the cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the ruins of the universe. She believed that there must have been someone who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the previous era. She hoped to find the cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices that was left behind from the previous era. Unfortunately, she spent countless years and still did not find the complete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices. However, she did find an incomplete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices. It allowed her to confirm that there were indeed people who possessed the sacred heart of 9 orifices in the previous era, and there were many of them. Some had even cultivated to the transcendent realm. In the end, Zhongyu relied on the incomplete cultivation method of the sacred heart of 9 orifices and her talent to cross the mountain of the Origin Realm and enter a new realm. Although this realm did not reach the transcendent realm, it was still far stronger than the Origin Realm. However, that realm was too difficult. There were layers upon layers of tribulations, and every step was filled with danger. Without any experience or guidance from predecessors, she finally encountered a huge problem. In the end, she wasn't able to pass through and died in this sea of Yuan heart. However, although she had fallen, the remnant imprint and the core of her power, the sacred heart of 9 orifices, had unintentionally merged with the sea of Yuan Xn. In other words, she was the sea of Yuan Xin. Just like that, countless years passed. She saw countless people come to the primordial heart sea and then leave. Until 800 or 900 years ago, the autumn moon came to this place. For countless years, the first 9 apertures sacred heart had come here. Zhongyu was naturally overjoyed. Everything she had learned and comprehended could not be cut off just like that. Also, she wasn't willing to give up on the path that she hadn't taken yet. She needed someone to take it for her. Therefore, after a series of tests, she decided to pass on everything she had learned to Chiu Autumn Moon. So, Mid-Autumn Moon is now accepting seniors' inheritance? Lu Ming asked. Yes, but this path is very difficult. Without the experience of predecessors, she can only rely on herself. Therefore, she needs to be very careful. The mistakes that I have made in the past have to be avoided. There are many things to learn. The inheritance will take a long time. Zhongyu said. How long will it take? Lu Ming asked. 1,000 years if it's short. It's hard to say if it's long. It depends on her comprehension ability. Zhongyu said. Lu Ming sighed. It seemed that he couldn't take Mid-Autumn Moon away now. However, he was happy for Mid-Autumn Moon to have such an opportunity. He was also happy for Autumn Moon. Otherwise, Mid-Autumn Moon would be like Zhongyu. Without anyone to guide her, she would have to rely on herself to comprehend. It was too difficult. Senior, if the Heavenly Palace finds this place, will it really be okay? Lu Ming asked again. He was still a little worried. Don't worry. Although I can never leave this place, I can still use part of my strength in this sea of elemental heart. Not to mention that it's the origin tribulation now. Even if it's the origin realm, I can still stop it and ensure Mid-Autumn Moon's safety. Zhongyu said. Hearing Zhongyu's words, Lu Ming was relieved. In fact, it was the best choice for Mid-Autumn Moon to stay here and accept the inheritance. Not only could she increase her strength, but she also had the protection of an unfathomable existence. There wouldn't be any danger. If she left with him, she would most likely face a fierce battle, which would be even more dangerous. Little Qing, let's go. Lu Ming turned his head and smiled at Xian Yanqing. Yes. Xian Yanqing nodded. The two turned and left. After the two left, the figure condensed by the sea also dissipated. The sea returned to its calm state. Soon, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left the sea of elemental heart. Lu Ming, where are we going next? Xian Yanqing asked. The closest place to this place should be the Wanhua ruins. Dandan should be there. Let's go find Dandan first, Lu Ming said. Then the two of them went to Dandan's location. More than a month later, the two of them arrived at the Wanhua ruins. In the void ahead, there was a fragment of a continent floating. The two of them quickly approached and landed on the edge of the continent. Be careful. Don't go any further. This place is full of danger. Guillemot had flown out at some point and looked into the distance. He warned Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing nodded. In fact, they could also see it. The terrain here was extremely complicated. Mountains were stacked on top of each other. Some of these mountains looked like divine dragons, some like phoenixes, some like divine swords, some like spears. However, these mountains seemed to be connected to each other. They emitted a terrifying aura that gave people a strong sense of crisis. Lu Ming had a feeling that as soon as he set foot on these mountain peaks, he would encounter a terrifying attack. Formation. Lu Ming understood that there were terrifying arrays everywhere in this place. Senior Fei Huang said that this place is a relic left behind by a great formation force from the previous era. There are formations everywhere. I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to enter, Lu Ming said. Not only that, many of the formations here are natural. Although many of them are broken, they are still terrifying, Guillemot said. He had lived for a long time and was very good at formations. Let's send a message to Dandan. If we really can't find him, we will leave. This place is full of formations. Even if the Heavenly Palace comes here, they probably won't be able to catch Dandan, Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing. After saying that, Lu Ming took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message to Dandan. Originally, Lu Ming didn't have any expectations. However, unexpectedly, the message was successful. Soon, Lu Ming received a reply from Dandan, asking them to wait for him here. He would be there soon. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing waited here for 3 days, but there was still no trace of Dandan. Chapter 4736. Dandan is still so unreliable. Lu Ming curled his lips. Dandan replied and asked them to wait for a while. His "a while" was 3 days? Lu Ming, look. At this time Xian Yanqing pointed to the front. Lu Ming looked up and found that there were suddenly rays of light in front of them, flashing from time to time. At the same time, it was accompanied by a series of screams. "Oh! Enough, enough, I don't want to play any more. This seat is in so much pain. Are you friends?" Among the screams, Lu Ming and Gu Qing saw a tortoise running toward them. The tortoise stood upright and the shell on its back became bigger. It stepped on the void and ran wildly, looking very wretched. Needless to say, if this tortoise was not Dandan, who else could it be? Behind Dandan there was a string of creatures. No, to be precise, these were not creatures because they were not living beings but were made of energy. They looked very small, only the size of a palm, and there were various types such as birds, tigers, swords, and so on. At a glance there were more than a dozen of them. Array spirits, these are all array spirits. The array formation here is really impressive, forming so many array spirits, Gu Mo exclaimed. Array spirits? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were also shocked. Generally, only extremely advanced array formations could give birth to array spirits after a long period of time and by chance. Lu Ming had encountered one before, but the probability was very small. There were more than a dozen of them here. More than a dozen array spirits chased after Dandan, making chirping sounds. From time to time, a ray of light burst out and bombarded Dandan, causing Dandan to somersault in the air. Soon, Dandan approached Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Gu Mo could no longer remain calm. They hastily retreated. Those were array spirits. They could activate the array formation to attack them at any time. This was no joke. You don't have to be afraid. They're all my friends. Stop hitting me. My butt. If you hit me again, I'll cut ties with you, Dandan roared. Needless to say, this was really effective. The dozen or so array spirits really stopped and curiously sized up Lu Ming and the others from a distance. They're also my friends. You guys can go back. I want to catch up with my friends, Dandan said to the formation spirits. More than a dozen array spirits yelled for a while and then they all retreated. Dandan flew in front of Lu Ming and the others. Dandan, you're really something. You actually became friends with the array spirit, Lu Ming said with a smile. Don't you know who I am? I was born for array Dao. Those array spirits naturally prostrated themselves before me when they saw me. Dandan transformed into a little Taoist priest with a smug face. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. This guy was bragging again. Who was the one who was beaten to the point of crying for his parents? This guy had become friends with those array spirits. He had most likely suffered a lot. However, Lu Ming was too lazy to expose him and give him some face. Dandan, what level of the Divine Master Realm is your cultivation? Lu Ming sized up Dandan. However, there was a mysterious force enveloping Dandan that concealed his aura. This should be the power of some array formation. 5th level Divine Master Realm. What about you? Don't tell me you've been suppressed by me, Dandan said proudly. A pair of small eyes stared at Lu Ming. There was an obvious flicker in his eyes. Please don't be higher than me, please don't be higher than me. Then he was disappointed. Lu Ming revealed a trace of his aura. 7th level Divine Master Realm. You're really a monster. My cultivation has skyrocketed over the years. I didn't expect that I still can't beat you. Dandan's face immediately darkened. However, the next moment he immediately jumped up. This was because Xian Yanqing had also revealed a trace of his aura. 9th level Divine Master Realm. You're all monsters, Dandan screamed. He was greatly shocked. Alright Dandan, let's get back to the topic. Something big has happened. Immediately, Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened in the past few years. Dandan's face darkened. I didn't expect such a thing to happen in the primitive universe in less than 1,000 years. Lu Ming, let's go. I'll leave with you. I didn't cultivate for nothing all these years. I want to let those bastards of the heavenly human race have a taste of my power. Dandan said. Why don't you say goodbye to your friends? Lu Ming said. It's fine. I can inform them at any time. Dandan said and stepped out. Dandan, did you encounter any opportunities while cultivating in the Myriad Transformations ruins? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course. I'm not the same as before. Although my cultivation is only at the 5th level Divine Master Realm, you might not be able to defeat me easily. If there's a chance to give you a surprise, hee. Dandan returned to his usual appearance. With a smug face he asked, Lu Ming, where are we going next? This place is relatively close to the 10,000 Spirits Palace. Let's go find Yue, Lu Ming said. After some time, they arrived at the 10,000 Spirits Palace. The 10,000 Spirits Palace was very strange. It was completely connected by countless ancient trees, forming a huge palace. However, it was already damaged. From afar, one could see that many places were damaged. This 10,000 Spirits Palace was also left behind from the previous era. Lu Ming first took out a sound transmission jade talisman and sent a sound transmission to Ling Yue. However, the news could not be spread. "Let's go in and take a look," Lu Ming said, and took the lead to fly towards the 10,000 Spirits Palace. The 10,000 Spirits Palace was extremely huge. Although it looked like a palace, its area was not smaller than a continent fragment. The group landed on a branch. Compared to the branch, they were like dust. Lu Ming and the others followed the branch and headed towards the depths of the 10,000 Spirits Palace. However, after walking for a while, they realized that they were always moving around the periphery and could not enter the depths of the 10,000 Spirits Palace. They continued forward, but the result was still the same. "What's going on? Is there a formation here?" Lu Ming frowned and looked at Dandan. "There is indeed a formation, but this formation is extraordinary," Dandan said with a frown. "What do you mean?" Lu Ming said. "Because the formation here is alive," Dandan said. "A living formation?" Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and Bone Demon were all surprised. "That's right. The formation here is completely formed by the surrounding ancient trees. Every ancient tree is a part of the formation. Moreover, these ancient trees can constantly move. When we left just now, these ancient trees were moving silently. Even we found it difficult to detect them," Dandan said. "Dandan, do you have a way to break it?" Lu Ming asked. "No." Dandan's answer was very straightforward. Lu Ming was a little speechless and said sarcastically, "Didn't you say that you were born for formations? This time, you obtained a great opportunity in the myriad transformation ruins. Why can't you break any of the formations you encounter?" Chapter 47-37. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Dandan was immediately displeased. He opened his eyes wide and shouted, "What do you know? This kind of array formation is one with the entire palace. If you break a part of it, it will immediately repair itself. Unless you destroy the entire palace or control the entire palace, you won't be able to break it." Lu Ming did not say anything. He knew that Dandan's words made sense. In terms of array formations, Dandan was indeed an expert. "Let's walk a little more. If it really doesn't work, then forget it," Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing, Dandan and Bone Demon had no objections. They understood that Lu Ming wanted to walk a little more because he wanted to confirm if this array formation was really that profound and safe. If it was safe, he could let Ling Yue continue to cultivate here. Later on, Lu Ming and the others tried a few more times, but the result was the same. They kept wandering around the periphery of the hall, unable to reach the core area. In the end, Lu Ming and the others gave up. "Let's go to the next place, the Sea of Time and Space," Lu Ming said. They had tried so many times, and with Dandan, a formation master, they were still unable to enter. Even if the people from the Heavenly Palace came, they would definitely not be able to enter. Ling Yue staying here to cultivate was safer than following them, so there was no need for her to come out. Their next target was the Bubbles cultivation ground, the Sea of Time and Space. However, when they arrived at the Sea of Time and Space, they stopped far away. The Sea of Time and Space was in a very remote place in the ruins of the universe. It was not a real ocean and there was no seawater. Here there was only a vast expanse of void. There was no substance in this void, nor were there any living beings. The void was constantly twisting and changing. It was hard to tell if it was real or not. At first glance, it seemed as if dozens of layers of space had appeared, but after a while, it seemed as if hundreds of layers of space had appeared. Such a scene caused everyone to stop in their tracks. After that, Lu Ming took out the sound transmission jade talisman, but it couldn't be sent out. It was blocked by a layer of energy. The space-time ocean is filled with space-time power. It's impossible to transmit sound, Dandan said. After saying that, Dandan waved his hand and a divine weapon flew out towards the space-time ocean. This was a master-grade divine weapon. A shocking scene occurred. When this master-grade divine weapon flew into the space-time ocean, it actually disintegrated rapidly, turning into dust and dissipating. In just a breath's time, a main-grade divine weapon had been silently reduced to ashes. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even a main-level divine weapon had ended up like this. If a cultivator were to enter, it would most likely not be any better. It's impossible to enter this place unless you've grasped the power of space. Even reciprocity experts will struggle to enter, Jianqin said. Bone frowned. That's great. Bubble is safe in there. Let's go to the next place, the land of the fallen gods, Lu Ming said. The land of the fallen gods was the place where the primitive god spirit and the heavenly human tribe had their final battle. It happened at the end of incipient god era. This battle determined the direction of the Eldritch universe. In the end, the heavenly human race won and established the heavenly palace to rule the universe. As for the primordial gods, almost all of them were killed. Only a few survived to resist the heavenly palace. This battle also happened in the ruins of the universe. There were too many experts who participated in the battle back then. If it happened in the universe, who knew how much damage it would cause? The land of the fallen gods was made up of many fragments of continents. These fragments of continents varied in size. Many small fragments surrounded the largest fragment of continents. These fragments of continents were all blood red. They were dyed red by blood. Legend has it that this used to be a complete continent fragment. Its surface area was even larger than the 1,000-year battlefield. Later on, the primordial divine spirit and the celestial race fought and shattered the continent. The primordial divine spirit's blood dyed the continent red, causing the continent fragment here to be red. Xian Yanqing said. As they talked, they walked towards the land of the fallen gods. As expected, the fragments of continents floating in the void were all red. There was a terrifying aura permeating the air. Powerful primordial gods and the heavenly human race had fallen here. Their blood contained the killing intent of these experts. It had not dissipated for billions of years. At this point, everyone became more cautious. Because this place used to have experts of the heavenly human race training here all year round. They might encounter experts of the heavenly human race. However, they did not encounter anyone of the heavenly human race along the way. They guessed that the heavenly human race had sent their experts to attack the Heaven Destroyer base. That was why they did not see any heavenly human race experts here. Soon they set foot on the largest continent. This continent was also blood red in color, and the air was filled with terrifying steam engines. The continent was full of potholes as if it was telling the tragedy of the battle back then. Fortunately, there was nothing unusual. They did not see any remains of the primordial gods. Lu Ming thought about it and understood. The heavenly palace must have occupied this place after the defeat of the primordial gods. The heavenly palace had most likely transported the bodies of the primordial gods away. The bodies of the primordial gods were treasures that were extremely beneficial for cultivation. Everyone sped up and headed toward the center of the continent. As they went deeper, they found that the air was filled with a layer of blood qi. The closer they got to the center of the continent, the thicker the blood qi. The blood qi contained terrifying qi and also contained terrifying offensive power. It was like steel needles that were about to pierce into the bodies of Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others used their skills to resist the qi. The three of them continued to move forward, but the blood qi became thicker and thicker. In the end, even their vision was greatly affected. Brr. Suddenly, a terrifying roar came from ahead. Lu Ming immediately recognized that it was the roar of the primordial gods. Ahead, Dandan exclaimed. Everyone quickly rushed forward. Then they saw several huge figures fighting. Each of the figures was incomparably huge. They stood indomitable and were more than 1,000,000 feet tall. Wan Shen. Lu Ming recognized at a glance that one of the figures was Wan Shen. He had enlarged his body and used various secret techniques to fight 3 figures alone. The other 3 figures were no smaller than Wan Shen. However, they were not real creatures. These 3 figures were condensed from blood qi. Although it looked very real, Lu Ming and the rest had good eyesight. They could tell at one glance. They were 3 primordial gods condensed from blood qi, and they were fighting fiercely with Wan Shen. Good fellow, Wan Shen has already reached the 7th level of the Divine Master Realm. This place is indeed suitable for him. He probably obtained great benefits. Dandan cried out, full of envy and jealousy. After not seeing each other for more than 800 years, he realized that Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Wan Shen's cultivation were far above his. He had become the one with the lowest cultivation. There was also Autumn Moon, Bubbles, and Ling Yue. He did not know their cultivation. If they were also above his, he would vomit blood. Chapter 4738. The battle between Wan Shen and the 3 primordial godly spirits formed from blood was extremely intense. Wan Shen was invincible and his body was filled with inexhaustible energy. Every time he punched, several terrifying secret techniques would burst forth to attack his enemies. But the most terrifying thing was his fist. It contained unparalleled power and destructive power, more terrifying than any secret technique. Wan Shen was like an invincible war god. However, the 3 primordial godly spirits formed from blood were also very powerful. They were locked in battle with Wan Shen. Those three primordial godly spirits formed from blood should be the remnant undying wills of the primordial godly spirits that died here. They use blood as a body to accompany Wan Xin in battle to help him cultivate. Guimo said, the soul fire in his eye sockets jumping. No wonder Senior Fei Huang brought Wan Xin here. This place is really suitable for Wan Xin. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming and the others did not disturb Wan Xin's cultivation. Soon half an hour passed. Wan Xin became more and more courageous as he fought and began to suppress the three primordial godly spirits formed from blood. In the end, he defeated one primordial godly spirit with a single punch. Then he launched a fierce attack and defeated the last two primordial godly spirits. Then Wan Xin's body rapidly shrank to normal size and flew toward Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, why are you here? Wan Xin asked curiously. Of course we're here to fight with you. Something big has happened. Before Lu Ming could speak, Dandan shouted. What happened? Wan Xin's expression changed. It's like this, Dandan began to explain. Lu Ming was also happy to relax. What? Something like this actually happened? No wonder we haven't encountered a single heavenly human all these years. So that's why. Let's go. We'll kill our way back immediately. Wan Xin roared. Wan Xin, don't be rash. Lu Ming waved his hand and stopped Wan Xin. I don't know how the heavenly human race managed to control the demons. Now there are more than 20,000 Divine Lord experts. If we go over, it'll be like hitting a rock with an egg. We won't be of any use. Lu Ming said. Then what should we do? Myriad gods Tao. The gap between the two sides is simply too great. We have to find help. Lu Ming said. Helpers? Where would we find helpers? Now that even the demons are under the control of the heavenly palace, where would we find helpers? Myriad gods Tao. Lu Ming, you can't be thinking of looking for the quasi-saint race, right? As far as I know, the quasi-saint race is very ambitious and has hidden themselves very deeply. I'm afraid they won't help us. Xian Yanqing said. She had the memories of her past life, so she knew as much as Tang Jun quasi-saint race is indeed unreliable. Lu Ming said. When he was fighting for the human king's body in the world of rings, he had come into contact with the quasi-saint race. The strength of the quasi-saint tribe was definitely beyond his imagination. He could see that even the Yi Immortal was somewhat afraid of the quasi-saint tribe. However, the quasi-saint race's ambition was definitely not small. They had been very low-key for so many years, but when the human king's body appeared, they made a move in a high-profile manner. This was definitely not ordinary. The possibility of seeking their help was extremely low. Then what should we do? The myriad deities asked. Dark universe. Lu Ming suddenly said. What? This time even Xian Yanqing, Dandan and the others were shocked. Dark universe? Could it be that Lu Ming wanted to seek the help of the evil demons? Was he crazy? Moreover, wasn't the evil demons controlled by the heavenly human race? The evil demons and the heavenly human race have been enemies since ancient times. The difference in strength between the two sides isn't big. How could the evil demons suddenly be controlled by the heavenly human race? Something big must have happened. I plan to go to the dark universe and investigate what exactly happened. If the evil demons can break free from the heavenly human race's control, the situation will immediately reverse. In addition, the heavenly human race only sent out 7,000 to 8,000 evil demons this time. Logically speaking, the number of evil demons should be more than 7,000 to 8,000. If the heavenly human race really controls the evil demons, the number of evil demons sent out should be more than 7,000 to 8,000. Perhaps there's something hidden inside? Lu Ming analyzed. Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Wan Xin and the others felt that this made sense. If they could find out what happened in the dark universe, or find a way to break the evil demons free from the heavenly human race's control, then the danger of Heaven Destroyer Station would naturally be eliminated. If it was in the past, they wouldn't have a way to enter the dark universe, nor would they dare to enter the dark universe. One was the entrance to the dark universe, which was guarded by the 4 heavenly palace. There were a large number of experts, so they couldn't enter at all. The other was that even if they could enter the dark universe, they would be killed by the evil demons. However, it was different now. Now that it was the Origin Tribulation, all the Origin Realm experts had sealed themselves. The Heavenly Palace had mobilized almost all the Almighty Realm experts to attack the Heaven Destroyer Station, including some of the evil demons. Now that they entered the dark universe, they could protect themselves. Afterward, they discussed the specific details and set off for the dark universe. There was more than one entrance to the dark universe. They chose the entrance to the dark universe guarded by the illusory Heavenly Palace. Several months later, they finally arrived at the entrance to the dark universe of the illusory heavenly palace. In the starry sky of the universe, there was a huge abyss like a crack in the starry sky. The abyss was so huge that it was like a speck of dust compared to it. Around the abyss there were hundreds of stars. In the past, there were countless heavenly palace experts stationed on these hundreds of stars. Among them, there were definitely many Almighty Realm experts, and there were even Origin Realm experts. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was too low when he came here in the past, so he couldn't sense the location of the Almighty Realm or Origin Realm. Back then, the Heavenly Palace's Heavenly Palace official said that the 5 Heavenly Palaces all guarded such an entrance to the abyss. However, the 5th Heavenly Palace is mysterious and unfathomable. No one knows where it is. In the starry sky of the universe, no one has seen it before. Is it really guarding an entrance to the abyss or is it fake? Lu Ming pondered. There are also people from the Heavenly Palace guarding those stars, but there aren't many of them and they aren't strong. There isn't a single Almighty. Gu Mo's spiritual sense was powerful. He scanned the stars one by one but no one discovered him. It seems that the demons are really under the control of the celestial race. Otherwise, the Heavenly Palace wouldn't be so relaxed and only have so few people stationed here. Lu Ming said. However, there wasn't a single Almighty here, which made it easier for Lu Ming and the others to move. Dandan used a formation to conceal everyone's aura and figure. They quickly flew toward the entrance to the abyss, and no one discovered them. After entering the abyss, they kept descending. Their speed was many times faster than when Lu Ming had first come here. The first time, Lu Ming had participated in the Heavenly Soldier examination and followed the Heavenly Official. It took him a day to reach the bottom. Now it only took him half an hour to reach the bottom. There was a huge city on the ground below. It was built by the Heavenly Palace and it was called Nantian City. It used to be used to fend off the demons but now there weren't many people guarding it. Chapter 4739. In Nantian City, Lu Ming and the others scanned the area with their spirit consciousness. They didn't find a single divine master and there weren't many people guarding it. Moreover, the protective array of Nantian City wasn't activated. It wasn't in a defensive state at all. It was as if the dark universe had become the backyard of the Heavenly Palace. There wasn't a single divine master, so naturally no one noticed Lu Ming and the others. They easily passed through Nantian City and entered the territory of the demons. There were countless forces among the demons. According to their strength and danger level, they were divided into different levels by the Heavenly Palace. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, Level 4, Level 5. When Lu Ming participated in the Heavenly Soldier assessment, he entered the Level 2 area. These areas were filled with countless demons. Once a non-demon creature was discovered, it would attack. However, this time Lu Ming and the others entered the territory controlled by the demons. They weren't attacked because all the demons were controlled. They were controlled by the heavenly human race. Lu Ming and the others found that there was 1 or 2 members of the heavenly human race in each demon force. All the demons were obedient and listened to the orders of the heavenly human race. Seeing this, Lu Ming and the others were very gloomy. They continued to move forward and passed by a large number of demon forces. Whether it was Level 2, Level 3 or Level 4 or Level 5, they all obeyed the orders of the heavenly human race. What happened in the dark universe? Why are all the demons obeying the orders of the heavenly human race? Wan Shen asked in shock. It's not just a few forces. It seems that the entire dark universe is the same. What kind of method can achieve such a shocking effect? Xian Yanqing said. Even though she had the memory of her previous life and was knowledgeable, she couldn't figure out what had happened. Anyway, this was definitely not a good thing for Heaven Destroyer. We'll know after we capture a few heavenly human race members and interrogate them, Lu Ming said. Then he started to take action. He quietly entered a Level 5 demon force and took down a heavenly human who was guarding the place. This heavenly human race member was only at the Divine Emperor realm, so he couldn't resist at all. In a remote place, you are Lu Ming. How dare you come to the dark universe? The celestial god emperor of the heavenly human tribe recognized Lu Ming at first glance and shouted in horror. He had not expected that Lu Ming would be so bold as to enter the dark cosmos at this time. I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you. Tell me what happened in the dark universe. How do you control the demons? Lu Ming asked coldly. Don't even think about getting a single word out of me. The heavenly human race god emperor roared. Is that so? You really have a backbone. Unfortunately, not everyone has such a backbone. If you don't say it, someone else will. Go ahead. Lu Ming coldly spoke. Under the horrified gaze of the god emperor of the celestial race, he stomped his foot down. The body of the God Emperor of the celestial race was torn into pieces, and he died on the spot. Then Lu Ming and the others went to another demon force and captured the heavenly human race member guarding there for interrogation. Just like Lu Ming said, not everyone had such a backbone. When they interrogated the third person, that person obediently spoke. It's the demon ancestor worm. The divine masters spread the demon ancestor worm into the air of the dark universe. The demon ancestor worm is extremely small, but it can enter the body of every demon through the air. The demon ancestor worm will corrode the demons. Once the demons are corroded by the demon ancestor worm, they can only obey our orders like puppets. The third heavenly human race God Emperor said in a trembling voice. Demon ancestor worm? Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Guamo, and Wanshun were stunned as they had never heard of it before. What is the demon ancestor worm? Where did it come from? Lu Ming asked. I don't know. It's the top secret of my tribe. Even many divine masters don't know about it. We only know how to carry out missions. The heavenly human race God Emperor said. Are all the demons in the dark universe controlled by the heavenly human race? Or are there some demon forces that haven't been controlled? Lu Ming asked again. There are indeed some demon forces that haven't been controlled by the demon ancestor worm. We don't know what's going on either. The heavenly human race God Emperor said. The eyes of Lu Ming and the others lit up. What are those forces? Where are they located? Lu Ming continued to ask. There are 4 royal families of the demons. 2 of them have been controlled by us and the other 2 are not. I have a map of the dark universe here. You can take a look. The heavenly human race God Emperor took out a map from his storage ring as he spoke. Lu Ming took it and injected his energy into it. A map appeared out of thin air. It was indeed a map of the dark universe. The size of the forces in the dark universe were clearly marked on it, including the 2 royal families that hadn't been controlled. Everyone, I've told you everything I know. Can you spare my life? The heavenly human race God Emperor looked at Lu Ming and the others anxiously. He had told them all in order to survive. Poof. Before he could react, the myriad god attacked and destroyed his body and soul with one move. You know we're here and you still want to live? How naive. The myriad god sneered, his eyes filled with killing intent. Let's go. Let's find the 2 royal families that haven't been controlled. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the myriad god didn't say anything and followed Lu Ming. With the map, they didn't have to search blindly. Besides, almost no one in the dark universe could stop them, so they were extremely fast. Soon, they approached one of the territories occupied by the royal families. The royal family they first came to was called the Purple-Eyed Demon Race. There were a total of 4 royal families, and they were the strongest forces in the dark universe. Their bloodlines were powerful, far superior to other demons. They were also the most powerful. The 4 royal families occupied 2/3 of the dark universe's territory. The other demon forces were almost all subsidiary forces of the 4 royal families. Kill? Kill them. Lu Ming and the others were flying when they suddenly heard battle cries. Cold killing intent surged toward Lu Ming and the others like a tide. Following that, huge and burly figures rushed out from the surrounding mountains. These figures had wings on their backs and they were all demons. Moreover, they were extremely powerful, all at the God-Lord realm. Among the demons, they were known as demon lords. A total of dozens of demon masters charged toward Lu Ming and the group. Lu Ming's group of 5 had sharp spiritual senses. They immediately reacted and blocked these attacks. The newcomers are very strong. Stand down and leave them to us. A dignified voice came from the sky, and then a violent pressure pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. Following that, several terrifying attacks attacked Lu Ming and the others. Peak God Lord. Lu Ming and the others didn't need to look to know that these attacks came from Peak God Lord experts. They were extremely terrifying.